time to boil up.
Hi, from the internet, it's Tuesday night.
I don't know the SNL song.
I don't know either.
We're close, I'm sure.
Yeah. We don't have our sweet baseline intro yet. Yeah,
Yeah, how's that coming?
I don't know. They're waiting for a baby, so I mean they're sort of busy.
Is the baby gonna be doing the bass line? What's the holdup?
Yeah,
No, she's expecting next week, so they're a little close to
while he's
having
waiting,
a life-changing event. Yeah, exactly.
Slap it out real quick.
Yeah, the baby or the baseline.
How hard can it be?
So welcome to FUNCAST episode 9 coming at you. Very
Is it
excited.
9?
No, this is 10.
This is 9.
This is 10.
No,
isn't it?
what? I thought
10?
next week was 10.
No, I thought like last week was 9.
Well, I mean, are you
Whoa.
counting the Phantom episode that was lost to time and space?
Yes,
That was 10.
That one's going to be the most valuable one when someone
Collector's item.
The one that
hacks it.
one person saw.
If you can get it with the instruction booklet and the box, it's like $600.
It's true, and it does play on Super Nintendo if you can get it.
I think it's easier just to get a Raspberry Pi and shove it in a box and just play the episode that way.
No, that's not authentic enough.
It's not the real experience.
Yeah,
You have to
exactly.
blow out your Raspberry Pi to play the game. It's not the real thing.
So welcome to FUNCAST episode 9 or 10.
It's 10.
The upward debate. 10, I guess.
The
Which
stupid
is
gif of the day
historic.
is a cool gif. Just want to point that out.
Oh right, this thing from the Death Stranding.
No, this is the
Oh, it's
intro
that
to
one.
Ghost Recon's Wildland.
Oh right.
Oh.
Death Stranding also had a similar. No, actually, no. I'm just misremembering because like the cocaine turns into black mud, and then that actually
and
just
then that
looks like
mud
Death
turned into
Stranding.
Norman Reedus naked with a fetus.
Yeah.
I know it's
Norman
not
Fetus.
a perfect loop, but it feels like a perfect loop. Like this is what's going on in the building that it's like rotating into.
Oh, so it's like not
Whoa.
perfectly looping, but you're imagining the cinematic cut from them rushing
Yeah,
into the
exactly.
interior.
It's just cocaine and blood forever.
Yeah. Whoa, man.
I mean,
but
that's
we have
kind of just that game, I think. But
we have some fun stuff to talk about tonight. So thank you for joining us once more. Episode 10 is exciting because it means that we have made it through 10 episodes with 10
we
weeks.
survived.
10 does mean 10.
And that means that FUNCAST will now last forever. So now it's
That's
an
how that works.
institution.
Is that like the
Yes.
honeymoon period for podcasts?
Yeah, if for anything, for any project. We all made it. None of us died or mysteriously disappeared. So now the FUNCAST can go on to make millions. So investors, does anyone remember who we wanted to invest in us?
Like Coke.
Yeah, Coke.
That's right. That's right.
That's
I
why we have
actually
this
opened-
gift.
I drank a Coke on stream, label out on the first episode.
Mysterious Wendy's new logo. Have you seen that? Isn't that weird?
That is weird. What is that?
Are
It's
they?
Wendy's
Did their
new
marketing
thing.
department look at their Twitter feed and was like, "We should do that more"?
Oh my
that's
God,
a good
stop.
noise. That's a good noise. Oh,
Oh, geez.
I'm sure that transfers well.
who owns Gatorade? Is it Pepsi or is it Coke?
It is.
It's not Coke because Coke has Powerade.
Oh
Yeah.
right, PepsiCo. There we go.
Yeah, I was right.
Maybe I should.
And I'm
Not
drinking
lobby for Coke
some
while
delicious
drinking.
tropical flavored G Fuel, but I don't want to joke about that because they might actually sponsor a podcast. That's what they do.
Yeah. Who fucking knows? They'll sponsor anybody.
G Fuel runs the FUNCAST.
I got it for free when my brother took it away from my dumb nephew.
Ooh.
He was like,
The
"What is this
circle of
crap
life
that
is
the
complete."
internet's selling you? You don't need this." And he's like, "Hey, bro, you want this can of G Fuel? Sure, why not?"
Yeah. Circle of life in action.
Nothing tastes better than free. All right, so Discount, why don't you tell us what you played this week since you discovered a new game that not only made Frothy very
Thanks to
excited, but
Frothy. He was very excited, like a young golden retriever puppy that's like discovered the wonders of the outdoors for the first time.
That's just probably all the time.
Popped in, was like discount, and just like linked this video to a game called Slipstream, which
Didn't that just
apparently is a
happen today?
Kickstarter. Is a game that came out from the wilds of Kickstarter. Actually got funded.
Oh my god, I love the graphic style. It's
so
so much
basically-
smoother.
It's called Slipstream. It's a racing game inspired by the visuals, music, games, and cars from the late 80s and early 90s, which basically means it's Outrun plus Initial D plus Vaporwave, and just that's
boy.
the video game. And boy, it's it. So have you ever played Outrun? Either
No.
arcade or Genesis
No,
or
but
Super
I love
Hang
what I'm
On?
seeing.
Because it's basically just that game, except with. So first off, it's only $10. Second of all, there's not like that much in terms of like content. It's very much just like an arcade racer.
Right.
But like, man, it's a good arcade race. In motion, the Twitch video gets a little grainy just because like there's a lot of stuff to deal with at even 6K
Yeah.
rate.
To
So,
me,
like,
it looks
you know.
like Cruisin' USA. That's
Yeah, well,
the game that I think of.
Cruisin' USA is like a later entry in the same arcade racing genre.
Is it that much later?
Outrun.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was much later. Outrun was like the first. There's
Oh
a
my
reason why
God.
there's a genre after it.
Deja vu. I'm just watching this clip that I pulled up of some dude drifting real hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good. If you like a racing game like Outrun, and has an arcade mode, which is like get through these 5 stages in an order you choose. And there's a time limit that counts down. You get more time and you move to the next stage. Unlike Outrun, instead of which has like low gear and high gear for your speed control, this one has drifting, which is real good, and it like controls well. So like you're holding down right trigger to accelerate, and to drift you let off the accelerator, hit the brake, and then hit the accelerator again while turning. So like, you know, it feels good to just kind of like initiate the slide. Just
Yeah. It looks awesome though.
yeah, and like it looks really good. Like it plays into the, you know, the style of, you know,
I think
90s.
it plays into it like perfectly.
Yeah,
like
aesthetic
that looks like
really
you ripped
well.
it straight out of a '90s arcade.
Like it, yeah,
Right.
it looks and feels a lot like Outrun, like the way all the sprites are tiled the way they are.
Mhm.
but I feel like
the
it's
fake
way
3D and the-
smoother
Oh, yeah,
or
like, it's-
something.
It's a million times smoother and like way cool if you want the fucking OG experience. There's a 30 FPS mode toggle in the
Oh,
options.
boy.
with the video game.
Oh man.
But is there a scanline filter?
Oh, there are some scanline filters. If this is
Oh,
from my
boy.
stream video, if you go forward like I don't know, like halfway in, I might be playing with like a nightmare fucking screen combination on.
This isn't, but I can pull that up real quick.
Okay, because like man, it's something.
Oh man, it looks terrible. If you go to like the 43-minute mark, Burnout, of that video that discount linked.
Oh, which one? Oh, that from my most recent stream. I think I put up 2 from
Yeah,
when I
you put
just
up
The
streamed it.
Slipstream one.
I accidentally pulled up the Decay one. Hold on.
My goodness.
But yeah, it's hilarious looking with the rounded edges.
Yeah, so it
and-
has
oh
like
my
like
God.
a pixel mode, which like makes the pixels fatter,
Yeah.
which makes it look a little more old
Aw,
school.
jeez.
But then it has a CRT filter.
Yes, with
It has
the
an
distortion
NTS
and everything.
Yeah, it has
Yeah, I
an, yeah,
know,
the
it's
rounded
hilarious
corners. It has an
looking.
NTSC filter, which is like a square screen instead,
Awesome.
like a PVM. And then it
Yeah.
has one that's both. And it even does the thing where like when white pixels or like most pixels get really small in the distance and it's trying to
Right,
render
right,
multiple colors at once, it turns them into little rainbow pixels.
Yeah.
Like they even got that detail right of like an old CRT monitor. And like it like normally I kind of don't like fake scan lines, but like this looks actually like the
This actually
menu when
looks
you
good.
hit the menu when you hit
Yeah.
pause is the most fucked up like VHS tape I've ever seen in my life. Like it's raw, but
Every time you bump too, there's this great little distortion effect.
yeah,
you
like
can see.
like this looks good. Like this is actually playable with all this like the menus look like real fucked up with all this on. It looks way better when you're playing. And like yeah, and then you know you've got the arcade mode, but then there's like a Grand Prix, which is like here's 5 of the tracks and it's 5 laps, like loops around the stage you'd normally do. And there are 8, you know, there's racers, and at the end of each race you get money, and you can use that to upgrade your car to be faster or have better handling or whatever for the next race in the series. You know,
Mhm.
simple, fun. It's not super hard. I'm only playing on medium, but like you know, It's not supposed. It's $10. It's an arcade racing game. You're not getting Gran Turismo out of this.
Is it multiplayer?
So no, not yet. But the Steam page says at some point in the future there will be 4-player local co-op and a track editor, which could be pretty cool.
4-player local chaos.
But can I get it on Switch?
Can I play it on a toilet somewhere?
Can
I don't
play
think
it
so.
on a toilet?
I think it's
I
only
don't think
PC and Linux at the moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
Linux. That's something.
Where's that Raspberry Pi you were gonna
Yeah.
watch that
so
lost
where's-
FUNCAST episode on?
Just gotta hack open the Switch and install
Yeah,
Debian
put
on
Linux
it.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game's cool. I like it a lot. The music's real good. A lot of it's very like vaporwave, chill anime beats to study and relax to,
Yeah.
which is nice for night driving. And then one of them's like a really good, like almost Eurobeat Initial D song.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the stage names, maybe, or at least most of them, are just in a throwback to this genre's Sega roots. All of the stages are like Sonic stage names.
Oh, nice.
So it's like Marble Garden and Emerald Hills and Chemical
Oh,
Plant
that's cool.
and Metropolis, and it's pretty good.
If Alicia was here, she would appreciate that.
Yeah, it was a cool thing I noticed when I was looking at like the track list for like a race. I was like, oh wait a second. I'm going from Emerald Hills, or like I have a selection between Emerald Hills and Marble Gardens. This seems a little familiar.
So
Yeah,
tell us about
If you like
your
Outrun,
game.
probably pick this up. It's $10.
Will do.
What else did you play?
What else did I play? So I also played some State of Decay 2, which came out. So release dates are weird now. If you paid $50, which also included like the season pass, you could play it last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could pay $30 or wait for it to come to Game Pass and play it today. But I paid the $50 because the first game was real good, and this game's more of that first game, which is namely State of Decay 2 is a management simulator with a zombie survival layer on top.
All right.
This game is a lot more management sim than it is necessary, or a lot of cases can be more management sim. Oh, you might
Like-
want to skip this part. This is me this game has some weird problems before I get into anything. A lot of the critical reception is very like 7 out of 10, which is fine. And a lot of that is because it's kind of buggy. Most of the bugs aren't like bad progression blocker bugs. They're like weird, janky, like Oblivion bugs or like Skyrim bugs. I was streaming some today, and like an NPC in my base just like jumped off the roof to get to the front door for no reason.
That
like,
sounds
that's
like,
weird.
sounds
And,
like a
stuff
Bethesda
like
game.
that, or like weird like dialogue bugs, or like there's a weird graphic bug in the menu that I was trying to figure out where like if one of those settings, when you change it while you're playing, turns off the lighting,
Mm-hmm.
so everything is just pitch black and you can't see. although you can see like the reflections from the sun when it like pans over one of those tent roofs or something.
Oh, weird.
So that was weird.
What is State of Decay 1?
So
like,
State
what
of
was the
Decay
gameplay
1
exactly?
was like this. It was like a third-person zombie survival game with like base building and community management. Came out originally as part of the
I
Xbox
remember
Live
this.
Arcade.
Oh, so
back
it's
when-
oldish. It's old.
Yeah, back when that was the only way to get digital games. They were
All
specials. They had
downloadable
to put them in the
were
arcade. Yeah.
This says State of Decay 1 came out 5 years ago. Man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it got really popular, especially considering its status as like an arcade game or Xbox Live arcade game. And so like the developers were like, yeah, man, I got real big. Let's make the next game an MMO, kind of like in the same vein. Of,
What?
yeah,
Really?
same path as like
Oh my god.
there's another indie game that like went the same path and then nothing happened. But anyway, 5 years later, here's State of Decay 2. It's not an MMO. It has multiplayer. It's like drop-in co-op where like there's a leash range. So like you can't do 2 missions at once, and like the person joining you doesn't like progress their main story.
Everything's still the first player's world.
Yeah. But like you
Yeah,
can bring
that's
stuff
okay.
back with your character, but like I don't know, I'd be kind of fine just like joining somebody else's game every time they played and just playing it that way.
Right.
But like, so the basis of this game is all the survivors of the zombie apocalypse are immune to the basic zombie plague, so like you don't have to worry about that shit. You
Mhm.
just have to worry about normal infection. And so
Right.
you gotta scavenge the environments and find supplies and make sure you don't run out of food or medicine or whatever and keep survivors happy. You got to keep morale up. You got to make sure you got enough beds for everybody. You got to make sure you got.
Is there like a story? Do you keep everyone alive for a reason?
No.
Do you have to live X
Like,
days or
like
something?
it gives you objectives, but like I don't think this one has really like a story. Like a lot of it is like procedural. Like there's maps that have set buildings and whatever, but what those buildings are and what's in them is like random.
Right.
And like when you start the game, when you leave this tutorial area, you get to pick one of 3 maps to go to. And each map is slightly bigger than the first state of Decay. So it's like a lot of map. And then eventually you can move between the maps.
So are you trying to get to the end or something? Or trying to get somewhere?
Like I honestly don't know. My objectives have been like my first objective is like, yo, we need a leader. You need to raise the standing of one of your group of survivors to hero and then promote them to leader.
I see.
Okay, I did that. Now it's like, yeah, you should like kill infections or like infestations to stop like big hordes of zombies from spawning and like keep morale up, I guess. But like, there's just like so many fucking systems. Like in your base, you can build stuff in certain plots of land. Those plots have different sizes, small or large, indoor or outdoor. All of those have different buildings you can build. And like, you know, every day it should be very important to mention that like your group of survivors, like when you pick the game, you pick 2 survivors, a pair. But like they're not your main characters. Like you can like once you leave the tutorial, you can swap between any of your survivors. Like basically whenever you're at base, just play whoever's best. So like you're not locked to them, and like all the survivors are like randomly generated, and they all have different traits. Like some of them are like, this guy was in the previous life, he was like a cosplayer and a rock climber, so he has like better stamina and he's really good at crafting. And I picked up a survivor that has like cataracts and cataracts and like something else that makes them really bad at stamina, really really bad at shooting, but their third skill is like electrical engineering, so I could build solar panels, so I'm keeping them.
They're asthmatic.
Yeah. And so like, you know, it's like, well, that survivor's never coming out. That's okay. But like, you know, I have a soldier, a doctor, and my starting dude, they're all pretty good badasses. And, you know, people level up skills, and you level up a skill all the way. You can specialize that skill into different things depending on the character. There's fucking like...
How big is your people, like your group of people?
So you can, like, when you befriend somebody, you can ask them to like join your crew. And then they join your crew and whatever. But if you have more people than you have beds, you get a morale penalty. So you got to make sure you got enough beds for everybody. You get beds by either building them in spots or upgrading them, or you can get outposts. And the number of outposts you can have is different depending on how upgraded your command center is. And I mean, so if you start the game with 2 and I have 3, so like one of my outposts is more beds because I don't have enough room to build more beds in my thing anymore. So I had to give up something, and every building you clear could be an outpost, and it generates a safe zone around itself. And some outposts generate a small amount of food every day, or medicine, or ammo, or give you power, or water, or provide beds, or like just this game has so many goddamn systems.
So it does sound like you could do the ultimate like city building.
Yeah, like it's straight up a management game with a zombie survival game also in, because that's how you go out. Because like I'm to the point where like I have a hydroponics farm, which is great because that's why I built the solar panels, because it provides power, which is one of the requirements for a hydroponics farm, which generates more food per day. So right now I'm only losing with my group of 8 survivors 1.5 food units a day, and I have 25 stockpiled, so I kind of don't have to worry about it ever again. Because the days in this game are long.
Does it feel like a self-sufficient game? Like that's like super attainable?
Yeah, like maybe. But like a lot of this game is balanced on like playing against the gamer's sort of instincts to like min-max everything. Because you're like never going to be able to like do everything perfectly.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of like you know, Don't Starve, you know, where it's like, yes, it's possible, but you know, you're probably gonna die on the way there.
It's better to like work towards the space where like, oh, I don't have to scavenge for food for like another, you know, I don't have to worry about food for now, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right now my thing is I need like meds because like, oh, a random event happened, we found a bunch of these pills were past their expiry date, -4 medicine or whatever. And like, yeah, it's really cool. And you know, there's the going out and killing zombies part and scavenging buildings thing, which is as you'd expect from a zombie game. You can stealth around, guns attract zombies, so do cars, so do loud noises. Don't break down doors or jump through windows unless you really need to. Like there's a lot. It's also only $30, which is a pretty good price for just like how much stuff.
Yeah, sounds like a full
And, like,
featured game. That's a
Yeah, like if you want to interact, like one of the things you got to be prepared for is doing a lot of menuing once you get out of this tutorial. There's a lot of shit it just kind of throws at you. Thankfully, it's all color coded. It's very obvious. You know, green is good, red is bad.
some people like menus.
Yeah, like if you want to deal with a management sim and also occasionally sneak around and kill zombies with a crowbar, and stay away from the blood plague zombies because those guys have an infection that can actually infect you and eventually turn your survivors into blood zombies. So you got to work on a cure, and cures need more blood. There's a lot of.
Is this not on Steam?
No, it is a Windows Store because
Oh,
it is
gross.
an Xbox Play Anywhere title. So you can buy it from the Windows Store, or you get it as part of Game Pass on either your Xbox or your PC.
Oh, so it isn't. Yeah. Okay. Still, will it ever be on Steam?
Maybe the first one was, and they were the devs were kind of like candid about like whether they didn't flat out deny if it would or wouldn't.
There's no Steam rating, so I don't know what people think. The Metascores on games from Metacritic are useless usually.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
go by
like
those
this
for
one's
anything.
gotten like pretty much like 6 7s because a lot of people like it's kind of janky, and a lot of
Right.
people. And it's janky, and there's a lot of systems to deal with, and they all interact with each other. And a lot of people don't like that type of very systems-heavy game.
Right. That's like giving Skyrim a 6 or 7 because it's janky.
Yeah, well, I
then,
mean,
you know?
it's like giving Skyrim a 6 or
Skyrim
7
deserves a
if
6
it was
or a 7.
also like Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
And, like you had to deal with all of that because like it's
Yeah.
kind of a lot.
Hey man, a 6 or a 7 is still an average game. It's not
Yeah.
bad. We're not doing
No,
the
it's not
IGN
bad. I
scale.
think people think it's bad, but because they've been conditioned to like only play 9s. 'Cause-
Well,
Well,
yeah,
it depends. Why? Because to me, it's always like, why? What's the thing that's knocking off those points? And I'm always curious because
For this one,
sometimes
it's
it is just
definitely
like, it's
this one's
jank.
definitely the jank.
Things
But
that'll
the
get
type of
patched
jank-
out is so annoying to like score on. What they should do is just be like, it's janky, so we'll review it once that's patched out or
It's-
something.
This is like the type of jank where it's just like you can see the ambition went further than the dev studio could.
Mm-hmm.
Like they went really far, and it's a very ambitious title, but like you could tell it was kind of like beyond what they could accomplish cleanly.
Yeah.
And a lot of the
yeah.
jank is kind of charming. You know, it's
Like Skyrim.
yeah, and like you know, I wouldn't say it adds to it, but like a lot of it doesn't detract.
Yeah.
Although I will say I did have a really, really annoying bug where it's funny. Brad Shoemaker on the Giant Bombcast mentioned this same bug, so I'm glad I'm not alone. Where at one
see
point
it
I was
like
playing
that.
it on the weekend. I wasn't streaming it. I was just sitting around being a goober playing this game, and like my UI disappeared all of a sudden, and it
Mhm.
wouldn't come back. So like I'd hit M to open the map, and I'd hear the map come up. My character would freeze. The game world doesn't pause when you're in the menus, by the way.
Right.
And I can move the mouse around and hear the map stuff, but like the map didn't come up. I couldn't see the map. I couldn't see any of the UI. I hit escape to bring up the quit game menu. It wasn't there.
Mhm.
So I just had to like Alt F4, and because it's a UWP Windows app, it just fucking boots and quits instantly, which is nice.
See, if this was a Unity game, people would be like, "Oh, Unity," but it's an Unreal game, so I could be like, "Oh, Unreal
that's-
Engine."
That's part like it has the weird like
Uh-huh.
kind of grainy look like Mass Effect Andromeda has, and I'm not sure like what graphic setting that is because the graphic settings kind of suck. Like all of the like I'm assuming film grain, motion blur, depth of field are all just packed under one generic post-processing menu.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you adjust that, like you're not turning any of them off. So actually, because it's an Unreal game, I could just go into the fucking engine.ini and
Yeah.
add no motion blur to the file, and it turned it off, which was nice. Still
Yeah.
haven't found a way to turn off the weird sharpness, and sometimes there's like a weird ghosting when you move too quick. Like everything has like a green aura behind it, and I think that's just because of whatever rendering pipeline they're using for this game.
Graphically, this game looks kind of dated already.
It looks good,
It looks
but
okay.
like yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. It looks like a $30 Unreal game.
Yeah, I guess that's.
It is.
Looks like a
$30.
more polished like PUBG or Daisy.
Yeah, the trees are bad. That's where it comes.
Yeah,
in. And what else did you play?
So
Discount.
I popped in. So because
have a
I took a
mystery
break,
game.
yeah, a lot of stuff this week, but I took a quick break from State of Decay 2, from Pillars of Eternity 2, which I mean to go back to. I'm probably going to finish that this week. The itch has gone from I don't want this game I like to end to I want to see how this game ends. Like I'm feeling that itch. Probably going to finish that, but to sort of like whet my appetite, I played some Final Fantasy VII.
Of course,
because there was, you know, we got way into Salty Bet after last week.
Yeah, we did.
And there was some real good Final Fantasy VII music playing during a real hype match. It's like, I should play that. And then there was some, you know, stuff about the remaster. So like, I should play that. And I remembered I bought that for PC 7 years ago when it first, or the re-release first came out. And as it turns out, if you bought it when it was only available on the Square Enix store, there's no like link in your Square Enix profile anywhere to re-download the game. You have to go to find my game. Is that it? I need to like look this up. I had to like Google how to re-download my game because it was not at all apparent. And I was sure shit not paying $15 for it a third time. Like what kind of weirdo am I? Okay, you had to go to findmyorder.com, which is a website owned by Digital River, which is a payment provider. Put in your order number and a password. I guessed the password, and I was apparently right. Then they send you a link that sends you to a launcher. And like the website that loads, like none of the scripting loaded, so it was just text on a fucking white field. I felt like I was hacking their website. Downloaded the game, it works fine now, except for like controller support for this and like Final Fantasy VIII and 9 on Steam and 7, I guess, are like weird and like the D-pad doesn't work.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of patches, unofficial.
Yeah, and like, well, a lot of those are weirdly only for the Steam version, which is
wait, the Steam version, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
But like. Like the most annoying thing about playing Final Fantasy VII on the PC is that for whatever reason, compared to like the PlayStation version, if you had an analog controller, was analog control. PC version, analog control doesn't exist. It's 8-way run on an analog joystick, which fucking sucks. There's a lot of weird, like, especially with the perspective of some of the screens where like up is like actually like right.
Yes. That does that a lot, especially on the ladders and stuff.
Yeah, and it's only 8 directions on a joystick, and that feels really bad.
Sounds terrible.
But like, yeah, playing this game again made me remember that like, this is a really good fucking game that has like way more like production value. That's still like very apparent and like attention to detail. Like at the very beginning of the game, when Cloud's jumping onto the train after you blow up the first reactor. And the train door opens, the noise of the train in the tunnel is louder until they close the door again.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, that's a really good
attention to detail.
Attention to detail. And like, so that's really cool to see.
Awesome too in the Shinnok Tower.
Like this looks good. The ATB turn-based combat system is perfect. Like I love this type of RPG combat, and I wish they didn't all go to action games because I kind of hate.
Yeah, I don't know why. Who demanded that?
I don't know. Like, why? Part of the reason why I really like the Persona games.
I don't understand that at all. It doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's because like a lot of them just oversaturation, and people are like, ugh.
Right.
They associated this style play with random encounters and lots of mashing X.
Yeah, but
like I don't know, action combat is match X anyways. Fucking whatever. Final Fantasy 13 got it perfect. Don't at me. That game's great.
I feel like the gameplay is just like a mode to an end. You know, it means to.
I'm playing this game and like really enjoying this old school combat again, and it's making me realize that like my second point I remember when playing this is that fucking Final Fantasy VII remaster is never coming out.
Oh no, it's never coming out.
Yes, it is. I've seen gameplay of it.
There is too much stuff in this game to make into. Well, first, there's too much game here to like just straight up remake for PS4, especially if you're trying to stretch it into like 3 episodes. Like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know how you episodize.
Like, you can't make one episode 1 disc because discs 2 and 3 have less story on them than disc 1.
No, if episode 1 was all of Midgar and then that was it, maybe.
That would be the worst fucking, like, the whole thing with Midgar is you're building up to leaving, and then leaving, it's like, shit, here's this huge open world that takes 2 seconds to walk to the next town, and that's actually like something you notice about it being an old game, the scale of the world.
Yeah.
It's pretty small. But like if the whole first like what the things they've said is that like, oh, think of it like the Final Fantasy 13 series, and like, what are you gonna make blow up all of Midgar to be like a 40-hour game by itself? What does that mean? You're gonna be level 99 when you leave boot up Final Fantasy 7-2 and be level 1 again? That doesn't make any sense.
That's how do you do an episodic RPG? How would that work?
yeah, I don't know. And this has so much just like stuff. It's so well made and like just and like remastering it would basically be making a new game because they don't have any of those pre-rendered backgrounds anymore.
They are,
Otherwise,
yeah. They would be remaking.
They
the
have
whole-
to. You're remaking all the backgrounds. To that point, you make a new game.
But to be fair, so FF15, they are sort of doing this weird episodic thing where they keep releasing more content for it, even though the game is done and the main story is done. They keep releasing new things somehow.
Yeah, they have a story quest release plan through 2019.
Yeah, so maybe that's where their plans are like, oh, we can do the same thing in FF15 then. But no one's playing FF15 anymore. Like, that's...
At least in that case, they finished the story in Final Fantasy 15. You can beat that game. And if you want to sit there and grind up to level 99, that's fine. And then when the side content comes out, it's just like fun side content. If you're going to turn Final Fantasy 7 into episodes, and you're just fucking, at the end of disc 1, it stops at the end of Midgar. And then you're like, I'm bored, I'm going to grind up to 99.
Wait for part 2.
Yeah, then when you want to continue the story, you're going to be max level, or they're going to force you back down or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like de-level you to like 30 or something. Like, I don't fucking know, man. It's a really good game, and like, play it again, or play it for the first time if you haven't. This is a goddamn
The actual end of disc 1 is all the way out at the ancient city. after
there's like
after the labyrinth of
this
the
game
ancients,
this game has cloud
Nibelheim,
saves.
After...
And like I loaded up my first save, and like it's right before you enter the ancient city, and the end of one happens, and you can't leave until that happens.
Yep.
And like my save file time, and it's not 100% save, which is I'm following an FAQ now to see everything because that kind of masochist.
I had a Prima guide when I was a kid.
But like my playtime to that point is like 32 hours.
Yeah.
To get to the last dungeon of disc 1. Like I don't know how you expect somebody to do that and have that be episode 1 and then like wait 2 years or something for episode 2. And then like disc 2 and 3 you can finish in 20 hours total. They're not that long.
When they Game of Thrones it and the people making the game all die out, so you never get to play the rest of the episodes.
Funnily enough, I actually like booted up FF8, which I own on Steam, and loaded that up. So and apparently, I played FF8 on Steam way more than I thought I did because my save file on that is like 68 hours or something, and I don't remember doing that.
Holy cow, that's intense.
I like as much as I like FF7, I have fonder memories of FF8, and that game actually is the one that I think deserves a remake because like that thing needs fixes to be modernized.
That game's cool. I'm a big fan as well.
Yeah. But like that's the one that I think needs the most change. Anyway, that's what I played this week. I went real long because I played stuff.
So many things. Burnout, tell us what you played.
That's okay. I also played a lot of things, but not that much. We were talking about Superhot last week, and then I got bored and I reinstalled Superhot. I just played it a little bit. That game's still good.
Yeah.
I've still never played it.
Why not?
Because I don't own it. Do I own it? Maybe I do own it. Let me
If you have, it was given away at some point.
I do own it.
The version I played, the version I own apparently is through the Twitch app. I was
yeah,
like,
that's
I know
the
I own
one
it
I have for
somewhere.
free now through Twitch Prime stuff.
Yeah, if
2 months ago.
If you have Amazon Prime, at some point you got it for free through Twitch if you clicked a button.
Yeah.
I have it on my Humble Bundle.
Or there, Humble
Oh,
Bundle
that
also
too,
gives away a
yeah.
bunch.
The Humble Monthly.
My monthly, my monthly stash of never-ending games. I have to check and see if I own Celeste because I was about to buy it the other day and I might already own it.
I don't know. It's still
How
kind
did
of
you
new.
enjoy Super Hot the second time? Or
Uh,
third? I don't know.
really fun second time. I don't remember where I played it the first time. I just played it on somebody else's computer or something.
Super Hot.
But yeah, so I had to replay through the story, and I didn't finish it yet. I was just kind of messing around, but
Yeah.
man, I forgot how hard some of those are.
Yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
good that some of those are hard because there's not a whole lot of those levels.
Not like too hard, more like I'm just making dumb mistakes. So
Yeah.
when you fail,
And like
it's really
sometimes
your own fault.
your
I remember
character's
when I
shoulders are way wider than they feel on first person.
Yes, sometimes I definitely feel like I dodged something and I die anyway.
Yeah.
I remember when I played the demo, I definitely, because I played the demo forever ago before the game actually came out when it was like 6 levels or something like that.
A million years
um,
ago.
I do remember making a ton of like really stupid mistakes. I never feeling bad about it. I just was like, whoops, because I kept trying to do cool things or run through it.
And this game like handles that respawn stuff really well.
Yeah,
Like it's very quick to just kind of
Yes.
pop in and like try the puzzle again.
Not quite Hotline Miami quick, but still pretty
No.
quick.
No.
Or Meat Boy quick, which is
Oh,
like the
yeah.
ultimate.
Did anyone play Hotline Miami too? Just
I
saying it.
did. I would love that game. I played through it twice.
Was it
Huh.
better than the first one,
Yes.
or as good as?
As good. I was gonna say it's kind of more of the same, but a lot of the special characters are fun to play around with.
Mm-hmm. I definitely have to check those out.
Double Uzi
Those
guy.
photos.
You just put both your arms out and you can fire in 2 directions.
That's one of those games I might like accidentally own somewhere.
I know exactly. That's one of those games I have to catch up and play.
If you're not
as well.
sure if you played it or if you know you haven't, I definitely recommend it. Please, for the love of God, go play Hotline Miami 2. The soundtrack, even better than the first one. Sometimes I just put that on.
high praise.
In fact,
Oh man.
I think a bunch of that music is in the mix for my streaming stuff that we listen to sometimes before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there any stealth in Super Hot, or it's more just you're running at everyone attacking you?
It's more like you're running at. Like I tried to pretend I was doing stealth, and then I realized that everyone just knows where
there's-
you're at.
So
There's,
everyone
like-
does know where you are through walls.
There's like kind of stealth until the action starts. Like you can choose when to like go in some cases, at least in the first one.
Yeah.
Mm.
You can choose like, because you see the guards all patrolling. So it's like, okay, I'm going to wait for this guy to open the door and then just kick the door into his face and then shoot the second guy and then throw the first guy's knife at the dude coming up behind me. And
That guy shot your gun in half. That was rad.
Oh, you're talking about Hotline Miami. Sorry, we're talking Super Hot doesn't have stealth.
Yeah, I was talking about Super Hot. Sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth.
We're-
To
yeah.
me, they're sort of similar-ish
Very good
games.
They're both very
You know,
good
they
games.
are similar, I guess.
You run out, you kill everyone, and if you die, you quick reset until
Press
you beat
R.
the level. It's almost more puzzle than like Twitch, you know?
Yeah,
Just,
especially because like everything doesn't move until you move. So if you want to just like pause a level, you can just sit there and think about how to solve the current conundrum.
right. And I felt that was true with Hotline Miami too. At least when I watched Frothy play, it was very like he had to figure out his path exactly before doing it.
Other than that, my brother decided to, for the third time, purchase Hyrule Warriors.
Deluxe
Hyrule
X Hyper.
Definitive
Oh my
Edition for the Nintendo Switch. So
The one that now runs well, I'm assuming.
oh, it runs so much better than I played the crap out of it on Wii U.
Okay,
me
that's
and
where
my
I played
two
a lot of
brothers
it.
all sat down and just controller passed and played multiplayer.
And then because I have an old 3DS that's like hacked to the gills on custom firmware, I pirated a copy of the 3DS version just to see how badly it ran on an old 3DS
Mhm.
compared to the Wii U version, and was like appalled that was a game they were selling.
Yeah,
Is this a good game?
This
game?
is-
I never
this is a
played
good
it.
Well-
game. I'd say it's a good game.
Depends on how much you like Dynasty Warriors.
Yes. I mean, there is something about mindlessly just smashing hordes and hordes of
Yeah.
enemies, and
And like
Right.
these licensed ones tend to be held to a higher standard than the mainline Dynasty Warriors are these days, because like they don't want to piss off the licensees.
Right.
So these ones do more than just like mindlessly kill people. There's like stuff for like character switching, or like the Fire Emblem Heroes, Fire Emblem Warriors, whatever the fuck that game's called. The Fire Emblem skin on this has like more Fire Emblem-y stuff in like terms of like character swapping and like giving orders to NPCs and stuff. And
Yep.
this one has
And the
Oh,
Zelda
yeah,
one has
some
a
of that.
lot more like going around and trying to find hidden heart containers and stuff
Yeah.
to improve your characters, which I find is one of the best parts of the game. I just like exploring.
Oh yeah, like this little treasure chest hiding
Yeah.
back here. That's cool.
Yeah. Um,
You guys keep fighting to your deaths. I found.
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
found
for
it.
treasure.
That's how I felt in Fire Emblem Warriors. It was like, okay, you guys go do the stuff up there. I'm gonna be here, defend the base, and find the treasure chests that I know are spawning here.
I got so used to the Wii U version where when you're playing multiplayer, one person gets the TV and the other person gets the Wii U pad. So it's a little
yes.
jarring having a split screen. But the game
Oh,
running
yeah.
at full 1080p, 60 frames the whole time, and not cutting down on the number of enemies on screen was kind of nice.
Yeah,
That
that
definitely
would be-
runs
worth
way
buying.
Yeah. So
I
especially
like.
if If you didn't play
Yeah.
the old ones, it's definitely worth buying now.
How much is this? Is it reduced or is it still 60?
It's still
the
60. I mean,
re-release?
Yeah,
Okay.
that
It's
sounds-
not-
Sometimes they bring them down to 40.
sometimes they
Yeah.
do, but it's not just a re-release. Like a lot of the stuff coming out on Switch, it's the old
Oh, this
game
has
plus
like all the
DLC
DLC
bundled
and
in,
stuff. Yeah,
plus
Oh,
a
so it has
few
all the
small
characters?
extra characters and stuff. Yeah,
and has the Twilight
Yeah.
or the
Breath of the Wild outfits.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's fun.
Yeah, I did appreciate all the attacks and animations they gave all the characters. Like, I think you can play as Tingle, right? And maybe.
that sounds right.
He might have been a DLC character. I didn't play too much of the DLC the first run I played, and I,
I
haven't
just
gotten there yet on
remember
this
there's
copy.
like a ridiculous amount of playable characters in Hyrule Warriors that I thought was pretty cool.
I really liked the
Steve.
Dragon Quest Warriors 2. No, yeah, 2. The second one was pretty cool.
You can play as Tingle. That's awesome.
Nice.
You also get to play as Skull Kid, which sounds rad. You play as Yuga. Whoa, weird. They
Yeah,
made a
there's a lot
3D
of
model
weird-
of Yuga just
There's a lot
for-
of weird deep
There's a
cuts
lot
in
of
the
weird characters, and I didn't play most of them. I played through the game before all the DLC started coming out.
Oh my god, there's so many characters. Some of them are pretty cool, like Midna seems rad, and Zant also seems rad, because Zant doesn't get enough screen time. I liked him a
Zant's
lot.
okay.
I like
Uh,
Zant as a character.
I don't know. Maybe I just into the classics, but I played through most of the game as Link because hookshotting the moon into people is fucking metal.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
You didn't play as Ganon, who also sounds awesome.
Ganon's okay.
He just punches everyone and turns
Yeah.
into a pig with.
I
dual
quite
swords or
liked
something.
the Dragon Quest monsters. Yeah, that's
Monsters.
what it's called. Dragon Quest Monsters 2 or whatever. It's this but with Dragon Quest and has like an RPG stuff and like an overworld. And you can just like as you're wandering around the overworld get into fights with like groups of like 10 or so monsters, and then there are battles that have hundreds.
Whoa.
That one's
Neat.
pretty cool.
Yeah. So
That's fun.
I only played this a little bit. I'll probably talk about it more next week if I play some more, but we'll see. It's my brother's game. I'm just helping him co-oping through the story.
Right.
We'll see how that goes. Other than that, I spent an unnecessary amount of time digging up and playing Might and Magic VIII.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why though?
Old
Oh,
RPGs.
you don't need an answer why. You don't need a reason.
Because I was sitting around having a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about what was that really old game where you're like a guy on a horse and you're walking around exploring islands and like having turn-based battles. I was like, King's Bounty? So I found a
Yeah.
website where I could play King's Bounty just like in a DOS emulator on the browser.
I
Played
almost
that.
bought King's Bounty on Genesis a
Yes.
couple weeks ago.
That's funny because it was like the same day I saw you post that picture. So I
Yep.
played that for like an hour or two, and I was like, man, I want to play, because a full copy of the original King's Bounty was like hidden on the disc for this game, Might and Magic 8.
Weird.
Oh wow.
One of the Might and Magics. I remember like accidentally
There have
finding.
been at least 8 after all.
There's been 9 actually before they finally came to their senses or went out of business or whatever.
It's the same with like wizardry. They just like kept going until suddenly it didn't.
Yeah. I just looked at my GOG time played for this game, and
Oh, you streamed this too?
Yeah.
I streamed a little bit of it, and then I
I
played
put a really good
lot of it.
clip in the games channel at some point.
I'm
of
at
you
like
using
19 hours
the
played.
Hermes shoes and jumping.
I mean,
Get that
19
little
hours
giggle.
isn't a ridiculous amount of time to play the game, and I'm sitting right at the end right now, about to beat it. But it's a lot of time to play such an old game.
It's fun looking at these old like 3D first person RPGs because there were kind of a lot
Yes.
of them at this specific time. Like
Mhm.
this is Elder Scrolls 2 era, I think.
This
Yeah.
game came out in 2000.
Yeah. So all of the Might and Magics before this, there was Wizardry, which was more of a first-person dungeon crawler,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny story is why there's so many first-person dungeon crawlers out of Japan is because while it didn't last here, the Wizardry series went to Japan where there's like 36 official spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
They just kept making them, and that's why there's so many Japanese first-person dungeon crawling RPGs.
I see.
But then there was also this like game reminds me a lot. like it's a very similar graphic style of a game called Wizards and Warriors, which is like the most generic video game title I can think
Almost
of.
as generic as Might and Magic.
Yeah, but it's basically this game. It's like a 4 or 5 party first person RPG where you're just like murdering like way too many dudes.
Oh, I remember the NES Wizards and Warriors. Oh
Yeah,
man.
different game.
Yeah,
I think so.
Different developers. I tried
Oh my
looking
God,
into
I
this, and the
remember
one
that
I
game.
remember playing is like some weird like game that probably shouldn't have existed,
Yeah,
but
I
does.
see both of them existing now. Yeah, weird.
Yeah. And they're totally different.
So
Interesting note that if this came out in 2000, Morrowind came
Yeah,
out 2
it's-
years later,
yeah.
and you can see sort of the difference
yeah,
in game capability between this and 2 years.
And like looking at like this and like some of the later Ultima games as well that are
say this would have come out right around the launch of even games like EverQuest, which looking
Yeah,
at this kind of
right,
makes
yeah.
me want to play. That came out in '99. This came out in 2000.
shit.
EverQuest.
And yeah, while playing this, I was like, man, you know what I want to play now? I want to find like one of them old school EverQuest private servers.
like private servers.
Yeah, back when the game was like this and you were forced into a frame and you just had like a
Oh,
small
yeah.
window of the 3D world before it went full 3D MMO.
Oh,
Well,
fuck,
if you
man.
go to everquest.com, apparently there's like 15 to 20 servers that people are playing on right now. So
You
People
gotta
still
find, you gotta
play
find
that
that
game.
old good shit.
go play
Yeah.
EverQuest.
I gotta
Oh my
find
God.
the good stuff though, like an actual 99 recreation server.
Did you hear
That
about?
probably exists.
Have we talked about WoW Classic at all? Are you interested?
There's
in that?
nothing to talk about yet.
Are you interested in that?
Definitely.
am.
It's supposed to come out soon.
I
No,
am
it's not.
zero.
Isn't it?
They had no, they haven't made a damn thing since they announced it.
They
But I
announced
am
it at BlizzCon.
0% interested.
They
Huh.
announced it at BlizzCon. Basically, at the time, all they did was they knew that they wanted to make some sort of WoW classic. They don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing yet. They haven't even started any production.
Yeah, they don't know.
Really? I thought it was like
what
the end of this year sort of thing.
No.
Very no.
The new expansion's coming out this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe I got confused.
makes me kind of like fucking wow. Every time there's a new expansion, it's like I
Always got to go back for a couple months.
Fuck.
Okay, I might go back too. So
Yeah.
stick around for a little bit. That'll be fun. It always is. So yeah,
Yeah, now
this
that
is
I'm
fun.
like I'm tanking in FF14, I'm like I should level a warrior. I've never done that.
Yeah.
Now that I'm leveling a warrior in Final Fantasy.
I should play more Final Fantasy. I was playing this instead.
New
I'm gonna
patch?
play. I'm gonna play Final Fantasy. So this will be next week's My Games Played will be Final Fantasy 14 because the new patch came out. So I'm going to catch up on.
Got some fun stuff in the news about that. Just wait.
I'm gonna catch up on the previous patch and then play this one. And I might start streaming Final Fantasy 14. I think it'd be fun to do so.
Good.
I also have a friend that does. He raids with pubs. So he's like the pub raider.
And they just
extraordinaire,
added
so-
raid roulette stuff for
Yes,
Alexander.
I know that. So I might try that out with the end game stuff with him and try and stream some of that. That might be fun. But yeah, do you mind if I talk about what I had going on?
I got one quick thing to squeeze in because I just started playing this like an hour or two before the show. But in light of the news that we'll cover in a little bit, I picked up my old Mario's plus Rabid Kingdom Battle game.
Oh yeah, sick, nice.
I
still
forgot
finished
that I had raged real hard on a fight and I just set the game down and never picked it back up.
What fight did you rage on?
World 3 level 5, the mid boss.
Which one's World 3? Is that the spooky
It's
area?
Spooky Town, and I'm fighting a boss to get Rabid Yoshi, and
Yep.
I don't know why I feel super unprepared because even now I picked it back up and I was like, oh, it can't be that bad, and I got wiped out in turn 2. And I was like, what am I doing wrong?
I'm so good at this game. I don't know. I love this game. I'm super into it. Something about this game, and like I'm super lucky too for some reason. Like all my crits proc all the time, and I like get
I'm
what I need
missing
them
every
to.
one of my half cover shots. Like I can't hit anybody.
Yeah. What I found is like the game totally allows you to be super aggressive. Maybe in XCOM, like it's really
Well,
like you're not supposed to be out in the open, but in this
like
game you
XCOM.
totally can.
Yes.
XCOM 1 is a little more like sit in camp. XCOM 2 has like some really fucked up like time limits on some of those missions
Yes.
that are like, no, you need to be sprinting for 3 turns.
This game's all about trying to optimize as much damage as you can do every turn. And like whether that means dashing into people and doing the jump. Like you can dash into someone and then jump off your friend onto them and then shoot them. Like you can do that all the same turn.
Yeah, combo.
Yeah, it's a wombo combo. I friggin' love and what's really, really cool about Mario and Rabbids, and I know this is your game and I'm like talking about it, but it's
That's fine, talk about it.
Is like all the mechanics, they create this unexpected gameplay all the time that it really works well. Like when you bounce someone, they can bounce into things that explode or bounce off, or you can have them bounce into traps, or you can have them bounce into the way of someone that will shoot, and like there's all these like physicsy things that will happen that you don't expect to work, and then they just do. And they just sort of the game is really well thought out. It's actually super impressive. Because it's just friggin' Rabbids, and I did not expect anything from it, but I was like, holy shit, this game's really well made.
No,
Also saying
really
Rabbid
solid.
Mario.
I know.
Yeah.
Rabbid Yoshi. Like somebody put that poor thing down.
Solid game, great gameplay. I just got really stuck and I put it down, and now that I picked it back up and I've only been playing it like an hour or two, I'm really enjoying it. I just went back and did some of the side content thinking maybe I could unlock more skill points or something to help.
Right.
Yeah, and that Grant Kirkhope soundtrack, all that very much
It's really good, yeah.
So good.
I should probably
It
play
is
this
very
game.
good.
Huh?
You should definitely
It's
play
really
this game.
fun.
Plus,
there's
there's
a lot
plenty
of
of
It came
DLC
out
coming out.
before. It came out
Yes.
before I got my Switch, so like I just kind of lost it, in
I
the
would
Zelda
never have bought
haze.
this game. It didn't seem interesting to me, but my brother bought it for me for Christmas because he was like, I heard this was co-op and you can play it with Felicia. And I was like, okay. I found out the co-op is not really existent. There's co-op specific missions.
Isn't
Yeah.
it like
We-
when it used the Roomba?
I don't know, actually. We haven't even tried them. What we ended up doing was just taking turns. So like I'd play a mission and she'd play a mission. And that was fun because we both have very different styles.
And I guess because
So,
it's like there's like a
really
puzzle
just-
element. It's kind of spectator friendly.
Yes.
Yeah, it totally is because it's turn-based too. So you can be like, "Hey, why don't you try this?" And she's like, "Shut up! I know what I'm doing." And I'm like, "Okay."
Okay, sorry, I just had to pull this up because I swiped past it on my newsfeed earlier, but Mario plus Rabbids is actually on sale right now, as Nintendo games
Oh,
aren't
sick.
usually. But it's at Walmart in the US for $30. I don't know how much
Wow,
that helps
yo.
you though.
I don't know if that helps me, but
But if anybody
You're close
listening
to-
right now, play this game. It's half off right now at Walmart.
You're close to the U.S., right?
Just have
Yeah,
Mark
sure.
buy it and bring it over next time
just
he.
gotta drive to Buffalo or something.
But that game's great. Go play it. So my games this week.
So
Uh,
at the border, they'll be like, "So what's your business?" Oh, I'm going to Buffalo to buy rabid animals. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
That's fine.
Okay.
Android, what'd you play?
I played Stardew Valley yesterday, and it was super awesome. The co-op is lots of fun when you both know how to play the game. There's surprisingly
That's a caveat
little.
and a half right there. Wait a second.
Yep.
Well, both of us have. So my girlfriend and I have both beaten the game in single player individually. So
Right.
we're playing co-op. I've friggin' mapped this game out, so I know like how to do everything.
Got
So,
spreadsheets.
I have spreadsheets for each season as to what crop is the best crop to buy, given how much time left is in the month. It's important to know these things. But yeah, this game is super fun. Maybe not surprisingly, because there's so much to do in the game. When we co-op, we don't actually like hang out that much in the game, but like
You're
it's
just
still-
like fire patrol, just like we got fires to put out. Go, go, go. Like you just know exactly what you're doing. You're making beelines to like
Not
whatever.
even, because you can't actually do that necessarily. Like, you could beeline it through the mines if you really wanted to, but I didn't. So, like, I've been fishing a lot because fishing is awesome, and I still enjoy the fishing.
It's the best kind of fishing.
I love the fishing minigame. You can even see it in the video right now, where it's just you have to, when the fish comes up, you have to keep the fish inside this green bar, and you hold down the mouse button to raise the green bar, and you release the mouse to have the green bar fall, and it's you have to like make sure it stays lined up. It's a little tricky, but once you get used to it, I think it's really fun. And
I
it
had
is
a lot
relaxing.
of trouble with it the first time I played this game. Now that we
Yeah.
started replaying it, I haven't fished at all yet.
It's impossible on the controller. I don't think it can be done. I've only been able to do it with the mouse. Something about the mouse click, being able to like drag it up like that with the mouse click just feels correct. I don't know. When I was trying to do it with like a trigger or something, I could not get it to work.
So we need to get the FUN-GINEER group going still.
I know. So what I was gonna say though is like this game's actually really hard to get people together to play it because we've been planning on playing it, but it's like really a commitment.
Is it
We sat down and
is it like drop in, drop out, or is it like you
yeah,
kind of
it's
all
drop in,
okay.
drop out.
It's like if you
So-
just put up a server, I could like download the game and just find my way in.
Yeah, but I have to be playing it. Like if I'm not playing it,
Whoever
then
the host is has to be on.
Yeah. So
I think it would be cool if it was like a Minecraft.
I
just have it
know, like
going.
dedicated. That's
Yeah.
the thing we were talking about. Is like,
Or like pause, or like have time run slowly or something. If only like not the non-host is playing, so other people can do stuff.
right,
Mhm.
or just do the what game was it? There's a game that like it only updates if someone logs on, but the game's always there and anyone can log on. Just once they're on, then the game continues to run. I think
Minecraft?
Minecraft doesn't Minecraft run on its own? No, it doesn't. You're right. It is.
Time doesn't move unless somebody's loaded into a chunk.
You're right. I forgot. That is what I'm thinking of. Sorry. A game that doesn't do that is Space Engineers. I was thinking of that one. That one just runs regardless of whether someone's there.
Oh,
that
that
game's
sounds
fun.
scary.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, because you come back and then your space station's out of power and the gravity's turned off and
Or like a meteor.
yeah,
hit your
because
spaceship.
a meteor storm.
oh yes, and the meteor showers. Oh boy.
just destroyed your whole.
So
base.
it's like
Oh, God.
Rust, but PvE. That sounds.
I missed that
Yeah.
game. I want to play it again.
What, Space Engineers or
Yeah.
Rust? Yeah, Space Engineers was alright. I played it with Digi a bunch. It was
But-
okay.
I keep hearing good things about Astroneer and it looks like a better version of that.
It does, but it also looks like a game that will take forever to get anywhere because it's still content light. But
You
that was the
don't
problem with Space
say.
Engineers, too.
Yeah, I was gonna say how could it be worse than Space Engineers?
Weird survival crafting game takes forever to get anywhere. Who would have thunk?
So the thing, the last thing about Stardew Valley, I just wanted to say, just like one of the reasons why I haven't set it up on the FUN-GINEERS is like we played it yesterday for 4 hours, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and we made it 11 days. So it's a very slow moving game where it's like, so what does that like math out to? It's like 20 minutes a day. That sounds right. So yeah, each day is like 20 minutes. So even just trying to get everyone on and together to play that, it's tough, you know?
Just
Gotta
have to do
open-
scheduling like Stellaris.
Yeah, doodle poll.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it. I don't know if everyone has enough time.
You can
though.
schedule it. No, we can schedule it during our Stellaris games because both of them have a lot of downtime.
Yeah, you just,
You're right. That's what we do.
While you're waiting for
Discount
one
will be
game,
like,
yeah.
oh, I've absorbed another empire.
I
Can
mean,
we
like
pause the
literally
game
last
and
time I
I'll
played
go?"
Stellaris, I was playing Contra while stuff happened that I wasn't involved in.
Yeah. That's hilarious. So I've been Stardew Valley, which is great, and I recommend it. I also played a bit of Pillars of Eternity again. I've been trying to get back into it. I did restart the game, and I enjoyed that a lot more. I think I mentioned that last week, and I got a little.
I mean, that
further.
makes sense. Like you learn stuff about how the game works, and like, oh, I need to try this again.
Right. And I totally looked up like how to min-max characters, and that
Yep.
was definitely worth it because then you could make some cool characters. And the way that the systems work is really not obvious. So reading
Nope.
up on like how to min-max and then how the systems work in the
Especially
game.
because it's just it's just different enough from like a D20 system. It's
Yeah.
all 100 rolls, D100s,
Right. And
and
like
the way
there's-
grazes and hits and shit works. And
Yeah, it's a lot of like I roll, you roll, and then we compare our value and your value, and it gets really ridiculous. And it's like, why you have 4 different defenses that you need to manage against every
different
enemy
types of
type.
hits. And
So you're like, what does my tank need? Does it need dodge rolls? It's like, no, he doesn't need dodge rolls because he has DR. And it's like, wait, there's DR too, which is just flat
lot.
damage.
yeah,
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Oh, you're wielding a what kind of shield do you want to use? Do you want to take the fucking action speed penalty or the get extra reflection or convert some of your crits incoming hits to graze it? And just like, fuck, man.
And how do I create a good party? What are good wizard spells? And so there's this great
that's a weird question because like a lot of those spells just don't explain what they do very well.
Right, like there's some
like
spells that are
hit.
just like it creates a cloud and it does damage periodically, and you don't realize that
You don't know
actually
what that
means
Yeah.
it's gonna do like a shit ton of damage.
Pro tip: Chill Fog is the most
Yes,
broken
Chill
spell
Fog,
of the game.
exactly.
Holy shit! Still really good in Pillars of Eternity too.
Good to
By the
know.
way, especially because in PoE 2 you can get a companion whose ice and water spells don't hit friendlies; they only hit enemies. So you can just Chill Fog into combat all day and not hurt your party. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I was also looking up like what's a good party and stuff, and I made 2 like you can make your own characters and have them, and they're just
The adventurers.
the adventurers.
Yeah, that's a cool system too. If you don't want to use the pre-generated characters, you can just build a character at an inn and hire him.
Right. And so I was able to. So I made this like front line. I made the front line, and then I figure everyone else that joins will just sort of be like back line and not as interesting. So like the 2 tanks, that way I have complete control over their character creation to make sure that I don't die horribly.
Good plan.
And I made them both godlikes or god whatever because that race seems super broken, and I don't understand why you can play as them. It feels like a DLC or something.
Yeah,
Do you know what it's from?
The what? The
It's-
godlike?
Yeah, it just seems
No,
like
they're
you want
just
to be
a
a
race.
human,
Yeah,
you
I
get
think
a
they're just
stat,
They're just
or
a
do
race.
you want to be a
They're a
flaming
race that
godlike?
has, like, I think lore-wise, their soul is imprinted at birth with like an aspect of one of the gods as like a favor. And,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
they have like fucked up faces, so they can't wear helmets.
Yeah, that's their downside.
To be fair, there's some really fucking broken helmets. Like, holy shit.
That's
There's
what
like
I heard.
I think that there's a helmet that like I forget what it does, but it's like a stacking damage buff if you don't move in combat.
Mhm.
So like you put it on a character and like you just stick him in the middle of combat. He can't ever die because you have him in heavy armor and a shield and whatever. And because of the
Right.
stacking damage buff, he's just critting for like 1,000
Oh my
because
God.
of he's wearing this helmet. It's like
I like when you do crits, they explode. It reminds
Yeah.
me of Dungeon Siege.
Shape Android?
Yeah,
Cat okay?
yeah, she does that. Diana, come here. You can meow on stream. But the one thing I am doing differently is I'm using stealth now too a lot more,
Mhm.
which is a lot better. I didn't realize what I was missing when I wasn't stealthing.
Yeah, it's really good in PoE and it's like broken in Divinity.
Yeah, Divinity's silly like that.
Yeah, like because like in Divinity, you can like stealth. All the rest of your party have one dude talk to the guy that's gonna start the fight, and just have everybody set up barrels and like oil slicks before the fight starts, and nobody notices. Or turn a shopkeeper around, have everybody else loot the place, and Android is just gone to chase his cat.
I am chasing my cat. Diana, come here.
That was like fun in that game.
Stream?
Having one person distracted an NPC and turn them away so that they can run around.
Yeah. What's really cool in PoE
oh.
2 is I guess it's a bug,
Oh
but
my
like
God.
if you get into if you're stealth and you get into a conversation, the detection meter actually ticks down while you're in the conversation.
I
So what
brought my
you do
cat.
is- Bye, cat.
Do you see how happy she looks? She's fine.
Real happy for like a second, but in like PoE 2, if you stealth get into a conversation, the detection meter ticks down. So when you exit, if you pause the game real quick, you'll be stealth and undetected, so you can steal stuff in the middle of a room with people looking at you. Pro tip.
Yeah, I'm still conflicted. I don't know if I want to slug it
I don't know,
through
do you
and
like
keep playing the
Baldur's
first game because I really want to play Pillars 2.
Yeah. I know what you
maybe,
mean.
But I
like,
also feel
don't
like if
know.
I play through the first one, I'm gonna get real burnt out on RPGs before I'm gonna want to play the
like
second
maybe
one.
like the
I-
wiki
I
is really
recommend-
good at the story stuff. But like if you already own PoE 1, you can play until you get tired of it and then like just boot up 2 because like it's just that much better, I think, in the systems.
If you do want to do Pillars 1, I recommend like not taking all the quests and just sort of
Yeah.
Just the story.
picking this like loner character, like persona, and then get your small squad of like 6 people. If you just were your main character and 5 like make your own characters, they're just your like posse. Like you'll never have to deal
I mean,
with
or you can be a lot of
character
fun
stuff.
and be a ranger with a bear and hire 5 adventurers that are also rangers with bears and play 12
Ooh.
characters.
6 bears. Yeah,
In
I like
PoE
that.
2, you can multi-class ranger druid, so you can have 6 rangers with bears,
6
and then
bears.
also turn into bears and be a party of 12 bears.
Bear
So I don't
the
know, maybe
party.
you should just play PoE 2 instead.
That sounds
I do
amazing.
like hordes of bears.
The druid companion you find in PoE 2, I think I mentioned this, he turns into a shark. Fucking, oh my god.
Yeah.
I'll get around to it.
I think
gonna
we
finish
we
that
said we were gonna take a quick break before we
Yes.
get
Yes.
to our news.
That did go.
We've been doing this for an hour. Take a quick break.
All right.
And when we
Thank
come
you for
back-
watching. We'll be back shortly, hopefully in like 5 minutes or so. All right.
Hopefully the cat doesn't take revenge on Android.
No, she's fine. See how happy she looks.
Hi, cat. Be right back.
Hi. Hello. Welcome back to the FUNCAST, episode 10, part 2. Hopefully our rambling about games was entertaining, as it
Now,
was for
part-
you, as it was for us.
Part 2 now powered by yellow Gatorade instead of green.
And
Gatorade.
also, Blood Orange Wheat Beer by Jack Savvy, which is delicious.
So
I'll take
not
it.
Shock Top.
Shock top we get up here. Oh.
Authentic drinking noises.
How was that?
Authentic, the can overflowed drinking noises.
It's good. It's very bready, which I like more than the Shock Top, which is a little too orangey sometimes. This is pretty good.
I'm still drinking this G Fuel, and it just really makes me have to pee.
Wow.
It's actually a diuretic.
G Fuel. FUNCAST fuels the FUNCAST.
I mean, I guess
Maybe
it's
that's what
keeping me
Robinson-
awake too. That's
Maybe
nice.
that's what Robinson Cano got suspended for.
Mhm, mhm.
Anyway, baseball talk. Let's not get into that.
Only
another
because
3
I
hours
hours
of the
know
podcast.
what you're talking about.
So, Discount, tell me about this not Genji I'm looking at.
I know.
So,
Don't worry, it's not Genji.
It's different
Boy.
because he's orange, not green.
Yeah, easy.
I mean, no, I have an orange Genji. I guess technically it's actually in Heroes of the Storm, but I
Mm.
have an orange Genji like that. Anyway, so Epic's like, hey, you know that esports stuff?
Yep.
And you know that esports stuff people are already doing with our Battle Royale game, which is something I kind of don't understand, but whatever.
hmm
We're going to put up $100 million in total prize pool to support the first year Fortnite esports.
Oh wow.
100 million.
That's more than the international money, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the international all goes to one tournament. This is like to support everything through the year. But like, holy shit, $100 million in prize pool support from Epic.
That just,
a lot of
I
money.
think, more than anything, sort of paints a picture about how much money Fortnite is making.
So like, Fortnite Mobile made $50 million in its first month. Like,
Yeah.
like what the like this game? Like,
Yeah.
you don't get Thanos in your game unless you're doing well.
Was Fortnite
is the
mobile
game
free?
right now.
Yes.
Fortnite Mobile's free as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it made 50 million just on loot boxes.
I like you buy like
Skins and
gems to
stuff.
buy cosmetics or something.
Oh my god.
Microtransactions, merchandising.
Yeah. But I mean, they do merchandising really well because
Yeah,
I
like-
mean, everyone wants to be these like goofy looking,
It's
cool
like-
looking people.
Yeah, there's a lot of goddamn skins at this point, but like
Yeah.
it sounds kind of bad to say it, but like the cultural touchstone of Fortnite. Like I just saw a tweet of like an F1 driver playing Fortnite and a break, and there was like an article about how like David Price, not to bring up baseball again, but
But he can't
David
help
Price,
it.
a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox,
I hear that
had
Drake
like
plays Fortnite.
carpal tunnel because
Drake
he was
play
playing Fortnite too much and couldn't feel the fingers in his pitching hand.
Oh boy.
Or at
Oh,
least
my
that was what the story the Boston media spun out. He just mentioned he was playing Fortnite, and they're like, "Adults playing video games, push the panic button." Like, so
But yeah, this is
that happened.
$100 million for the 2018-2019 season, which
Yeah,
they haven't specified yet when that's actually going to begin, but they do want to have a 100-person tournament during E3 soon.
yes, and like
That's
the
in
dates,
2 weeks or
the,
something.
the date and time is still like to be decided, I think. But
That's
like
in 2 weeks. How could it still be undecided?
I don't know.
What's weird to me about Fortnite is all of this PvP focus that they're doing, because it's not
Yeah,
like a super serious competitive game. So it's weird that they're doing these prize pools.
I don't know. Like on the face of it, like neither is like PUBG. Like not to like start a shit
PUBG
fight
has the
here.
tone though.
PUBG
It
is
has-
the
Yeah, it
realest
has the
real.
tone, but like League of Legends also didn't have the serious esports tone either when it launched compared to like Dota.
That's true. I think it took a long time for League of Legends to figure
Sure,
out how to
and,
make
like-
the champion thing and the whole.
Yeah, but like what
trophy.
like really differentiates like Fortnite as an esport, I guess, or like as a competitive game from like PUBG is that like PUBG, like when you like your parachute range out of the plane in PUBG isn't super broad.
Mhm.
Like it's kind of like we got to pick a spot, we got to wait that the plane's going to, and like maybe fight the people that spawn along the way, and the map's way bigger, so there's more downtime. Whereas like Fortnite, it's okay. One, the map's smaller, so you're a little more compressed, so you're kind of skirmishing or fighting the whole game, which
And
is
there's only
better
one
for
place
like
to
a
drop,
spectator.
and it's Tilted Towers.
Getting to that, but like so because you're forced to basically fight or skirmish the whole game, that's like a better spectator experience. There's less time just like spectating a team that's like running through the desert.
That's a really good point, actually.
Right.
I hadn't thought
And
about
two,
that. Yeah.
because the map's smaller, but also your glider, your parachute has way more range. You can drop anywhere on the map, from any position in the bus. Like you just jump out.
Yeah, I
and
saw
"Fucking
that.
going this way. Where's going?
I've
Like
seen
that works
from
in his
other people
favor. And
playing.
like the building adds the element of like, if you're caught in an open field, if you're really good at building, you can just like, you can whip around and fucking fix the problem, right?
Mhm.
Like so, a fight always comes down to like an ambush certainly helps. But like it comes down to the like positioning and like movements and like crowd control almost of like, hey, if I have a guy building this way and you're building around each other, like a lot of people I think complain that Fortnite building is like random. But like having watched a lot of people that are really good at Fortnite, it's like no, these people know exactly what
No,
they're
they
doing.
know
It's
what
like
they're
watching
doing.
StarCraft when they're building. It's crazy. It's like yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I hope this. Like, I mean, $100 million will solves a lot of problems for like an esport trying to get off the ground.
Well, didn't Dota 2 do like a huge money thing? And I feel like
Yeah,
that
well-
never really paid off for them. Maybe
So like
maybe it has.
Dota, so the international is a weird case because like Valve only started the huge international prize pool, or like started the international with the huge crowdfunded prize pool after Dota 2 had grown as an esport on its own through like
That's true.
DreamHack and ESL
Yeah.
and IEM and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, the community is like here for it, so now we can make money by taking 30% of their purchases and put the rest towards promoting the game.
Right. Well, it'll probably work out, I guess. It's just
Yeah,
it just seems weird to me as a direction for them to take it, but especially it's weird. It's like it's on mobile and it's competitive and
Yeah,
we have so many skins and we're doing weird Thanos tie-ins. but
Fortnite
it's
is so
competitive,
goddamn
you know?
huge at this point. Like, I don't know
and
what it is.
blew up in
what
like
it is
less
anymore.
than a year.
Yeah,
It blew
Like
up in
the
less
way-
than like 2 months.
Like,
this
it-
didn't
it's
exist
funny,
until
like, it
January.
released-
really.
it released at this point when like PUBG was at its height. But then PUBG had the problem of like not patching quickly.
Yeah,
Right? It was like,
weren't
we're waiting for the next
turning around.
content update. We're waiting for the next content update. Here's a giant desert map that a lot of people kind of don't like. Then here's Fortnite slowly gaining ground and patching like 3 or 4 times a week in some cases. Like
Yeah.
making small changes, fixing bugs, like, the things people complain about that companies don't do enough of.
and doing all this
No.
for free
Yeah,
definitely
doing
helps.
all this for free.
That got all the kids playing the Fortnites.
Yeah,
And on
and
Xbox.
like a lot of everybody else.
So I was wrong. So this did come out in September last year, and I know it did come out in September,
Well,
but I feel like it
was
didn't really
that-
pick up steam until January or
Was
like
September last year the launch of the Battle Royale mode, or
the Battle Royale mode. Yeah, September. That's what I'm looking up. Because the actual it came out in August or something, and then this came out like a month later, or 2 months later.
PvE
okay.
even hasn't even been out for like a year.
Yeah. No, it hasn't, and I still think they're gonna drop that mode.
I didn't
and it would
realize
not surprise me.
Battle
at all
Royale
if they
mode
did.
was so.
I thought they already juggled the names around, and now
They
the
did.
Fortnite is just the name of the Battle Royale mode, and they
Oh, they pulled a
The H1Z1.
An H1Z1,
Yeah.
which is
No,
now renamed itself like 4 times at this point.
They're both the modes of the same like thing. So if you go to how do I do this? No, you're right, I guess, because if I
Yeah.
go to Fortnite, I can just say play free, and it just
Fortnite is the Battle Royale mode, and if you want to play PvE, you play Fortnite's Just Survive or whatever they call it.
yeah.
There's actually an H1Z1. There's a really good shirt
Yes,
that
I
you
have
can
a
wear as a
screenshot of
character that has all the names that the game's been called crossed out before the most recent one.
It's funny because it
That's
starts as H1Z1, it gets crossed out, and it's like Just Survive, it gets crossed out, and then at the
Yeah.
bottom it's just back to H1Z1 again.
It's a good goof.
I guess they got rid of the normal name of it. If you click that link I just posted in the Discord for us,
Oh, it's just
if
get
you-
Fortnite.
yeah, if you go to the Get Fortnite page now, it's just like Battle Royale free, and then the other one's just like weird grayed out PV. Like
Campaign standard
Shh,
edition.
we don't-
Don't worry about that. We don't.
What's
talk about
funny
that.
actually is that like Twitch had like a thing like free jacket or whatever in Fortnite. So I'm like, all right, fucking whatever. I don't play Fortnite and I probably won't. I like watching it, but I'm not. I guarantee you, I'm not gonna play it. But like, I linked to my Epic account with it anyway, and like for whatever reason. And then like literally the next day, I got an email like, "Hey, we detected suspicious login activity for your Fortnite account." I'm like, "Great, thanks."
Oh, I've been getting those emails
I've
nonstop.
been getting this nonstop for.
I
don't even
do
own
one.
Fortnite.
I do one account linking for Fortnite, and suddenly like hackers know my account exists.
I have an
I've
Epic
had
account
that Epic account since
just to download Unreal Engine.
Yeah,
I've
I had
never
it-
played an Unreal game with it.
I had it when they launched their launcher, and to get everybody into it, they're like, "Hey, here's a Shadow Complex on PC for free."
Yeah, I think that's when
Yeah.
I opened my account, and
Like
I
I've had it
haven't
forever,
touched
and
it
like I guess I
since.
logged in to play Fortnite, and they're just like, "Oh shit, red alert, new account, gotta hack it."
I remember this game, Shadow Complex.
Yeah, it's a cool Metroidvania.
Yeah, I've seen
With
speedruns.
twin stick shooter. Speedruns are fucked up.
Speedruns of all the games. That's how I experience games nowadays.
Speaking of games that concentrate on their multiplayer and
Oh yeah,
fuck single player,
yeah.
Call of Duty
so-
Black Ops I. 4 eyes.
Damn.
4 eyes.
So like here's okay, so the really messed up thing is that that's only the logo. In all of their marketing, it's Black Ops 4, but in the logo, it's the 4 eyes instead of like, God damn it.
I guess
Cobbs Lops Eye. Aye.
Yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, they had their like fucking influencer attended review events or like preview event where they showed up, revealed it, and showed off some multiplayer and the zombies, and briefly mentioned that, hey, by the way, it's totally not going to have a campaign.
Why even bother with campaigns?
well,
like,
they're gonna
Yeah.
spread the story out amongst all these multiplayer modes,
you know,
including
the Black Ops 3 characters you know and love, like Ruin and
Who?
the robot guy, and
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. They're Overwatch heroes. They have a character ability and an ult that charges. Except in this, so this game is like the Street Fighter 4 of Call of Duties, and that this one takes place in between Black Ops 2 and 3. So wall running hasn't been invented yet, so that's not in the game.
Oh, that's how they're retracting that mechanic.
They're setting it in between the games, which is like story-wise from the campaigns for 2 to 3. I'd want the campaign for the middle game of those, and here's that game, and it doesn't have a campaign.
Wait, it's offering a battle royale mode?
Yeah, they're
Oh
spreading
my
the story
gosh.
It's a
out
battle
somehow
royale
through
mode?
the multiplayer, the zombies, and the brand new battle royale mode.
Yeah, so they didn't
Why?
like super detail it. They didn't talk like player count. or like how it works. Like, are you finding like are you respawning instantly, or is it like straight up battle royale? Are you finding Call of Duty guns? There's vehicles. You can fly a helicopter. The map they were talking about, like, oh yeah, it's like it's on the low end of like 1,800 times the size of Nuketown. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that means.
Nuketown is tiny anyways. That's not saying much.
But like, what is
so
like what does
confused.
1,800 times Nuketown size look like? Like, I can't picture that.
Also, what's the deal with zombies mode? It says
There's
it's
like
basically
3
Left 4 Dead.
There's
that-
like they did a bunch
that-
like. So this seems like a weird game. So like, I know the reason there's no campaign in this game is because during production they just couldn't get the campaign to like work properly or be good or be fun, so they just cut it.
Mhm.
Like that, like they didn't make, there wasn't like a business decision of, oh, single player games aren't selling. It was like literally they couldn't make the campaign fun or work well, so they just cut it.
This
And the
is so
zombie
weird.
stuff seems to be like, so Raven Studios, which is one of the like I think 3 or 4 fucking studios at this point working on Call of Duty, was like working on a zombies mode only game.
Yeah.
And like that kind of vanished, so I think a lot of that got rolled into here, which is why it's launching with like a bunch more maps than like a zombie mode normally does. And modes and
What am I
whatever.
looking at? What is this? All right,
Zombie
I'm just
mode's
gonna
cool. So zombies mode is
Hold on.
actually kind of a lot like
look at that image. What,
Yeah.
what game is that? Would you say that's Call of Duty?
That's the picture from the new Dragon Age, right?
No, that is Call of Duty Blops I don't know why. I'm so confused. I don't
Are you
understand.
sure they
like-
didn't accidentally put that logo on the wrong picture? Because that does not.
it does. So I can actually like I can straight up tell you that like the dude on the right, on the lower right, that's Ruin. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, my favorite character.
In multiplayer, he has like I think he has like when his alt charges, he just like a ground pound that like.
Oh my god. Well, there
Anyway,
it is.
yeah, like it's like I don't know, I'm one of those weirdos that likes Call of Duty for the campaigns.
I like the Call of Duty for the campaigns.
Yeah, and like I've kind of grown away from the multiplayer in
This game
recent
just
years.
looks like, oh, this
Bad.
thing's popular. This thing's popular.
But, like,
this
here's-
thing's popular.
like,
What
here's
if we
the
just
weird problem with
stapled them
that.
all together?
Like, here's the weird problem with that assertion, though, is that this game has been under development for 3 years, and like PUBG's been around for maybe 2.
Yeah.
So like halfway into production, they had to be like, "Oh, is this worth putting in?" Like, it wasn't something that was like they decided from the beginning. Like, they were making a game for 3 years.
Mhm.
And we're like, "Oh, let's add to this mode. Let's see if we can get that working." Like, I know, like the Battlefield people, DICE, were like, "Yeah, we're prototyping a battle royale mode for Battlefield that like we don't know if it'll make launch. We don't know if it'll make it in the game at all. We're just trying to see if it fucking works because like this is a thing."
That's what people have to do now.
Yeah, and like it's interesting to
God.
see that like, you know, Call of Duty has been such a behemoth for such a long time, and like this is the first time that you really see something external forcing Call of Duty to change in such a
Uh-huh.
dramatic way. And like that's super
know,
interesting.
I went back and I played the Call of Duty World War II when it was on free weekend a couple weeks ago.
Whoa,
On
man.
PC.
Maybe I'm old, but I just I don't get it. Do people still like this game?
Yeah. World War II is like the one that like brought a bunch of people back because it was boots on the ground shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried to really like Black Ops 3, but it had a lot of weird PC like optimization problems, like micro stuttering, and like the game just like wouldn't run well ever, no matter what you did. Which is like great because at this event they were like, "Hey, by the way, we really care about our PC audience. That's why we're outsourcing the PC port to a company that used to make bad Spider-Man games."
uh-huh.
I don't
So, like,
understand
way to
these
go.
zombie modes. It's just
So,
it's totally ripped.
Have you played Killing Floor?
Yeah, it was
It's bad.
terrible. It's
It's
the
bad.
Killing Floor is bad. Left 4 Dead was like a huge improvement on the Killing
First
Floor.
of all, how
formula.
dare you?
No, Killing Floor is not a good game.
Killing Floor is great.
It's
What?
fun. It's fun. I'm not gonna call it a masterpiece, but it's fun.
I liked Left 4 Dead because
And
of
what
how
makes-
much character and charm it is. All I
And what
remember
makes-
from
so
Killing
what
Floor
makes
is
zombies
the
actually
extreme
really cool
lack of
is that it has
feeling.
is that the zombie mode traditionally has a lot of character and like weird like characterization to everything, and that like it has its own weird separate story and continuity with like, you know, Nazi space scientists and like zombie apocalypse shit. But like, and like all the levels have like like some of like the the Battlefield like weird secrets where it's like, hey, listen to this listening post and then go to this other map and like do all this shit and like a shark jumps out of a puddle. There's shit like that in all of the zombie maps where it's like, yo, get to this wave and like hit this pipe and like this like weird button appears that normally doesn't do anything. If you push it 78 times or whatever during a map, like another section of the level opens and there's like hidden secrets all over the place. Like it's nuts.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just weird. I don't know, man.
No, it's cool. It's like wave-based, round-based horde mode where like, you're buying and upgrading stuff and like you get super crazy, like way quicker rapid fire, super reload stuff and
Mhm.
And
then eventually you die because it's unbeatable because it's waves.
After playing the World War II for a weekend, I'm not in love with the new map design. It did eventually cycle into that one map from Call of Duty 1 that's like in the French town. You know exactly which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
One team starts in the field, the other one, that was a good map. And then it cycled to one of the new ones that I don't recognize, and it was not.
So that's one of the complaints I have heard about that World War II Call of Duty is that like the maps aren't great. Like I don't know, I think like Black Ops 3 had actually like a lot of really good maps, and a lot of them were like remasters of older, different Call of Duty maps. Although I guess like the main problem with that was that like you can tell the wall running was at its super late as a response to like Titanfall. Because like you could wall run up to the top of the map and be like, oh, let me jump on this building, and then you can't because there's an invisible wall in the way.
And then
so maybe it's a good idea they removed the wall running. I don't know.
Maybe I'm old, but like I decided the first thing I wanted to buy in that game, it's World War II. I got an M1 Garand. I'm like, cool. I want to do like a cool single, semi-auto heavy damage gun. And I'm totally getting outshot by a bunch of kids doing 360 no scopes with their fully automatic machine guns in World War II.
Well, you gotta buy the supply crates and get the purple weapon drop.
Oh yeah, and that too. I miss the days. I miss the days of old Call of Duty, even up to like Call of Duty 4, because now watching people with like pink unicorn hats with their fucking flames up machine guns.
It's all about the weed leaf red dot sight.
Yeah, it's hashtag not my Call of Duty.
I've fallen off the multiplayer, but still liked the campaigns, and this one doesn't have a campaign, so fuck Call of Duty Black Ops. I guess
it's called Blops. So that's
Blops, the monkey from Monkey Ball.
God Blops. I've never played a Call of Duty game, so the whole thing seems dumb to me. But I don't know what. But moving on.
You know what you did play and you really liked?
Here's some good dumb stuff.
Oh yes, I did. What a segue! So exciting! They announced this a while ago. I thought, or at least I always knew.
They announced like the DLC schedule.
Existing?
They announced that there was going to be lots of DLC for Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle,
which is a great game. We were just talking about it before the break. So in the new one,
do you want Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
Do you want Rabbid Donkey Kong and actual Donkey Kong and
Rabid Cranky Kong?
Yeah, Rabid Cranky Kong for some reason. What's exciting about the new Donkey Kong in Rabbids is I hope they introduce new weapon types and stuff. So
it's like there's new weapon types. I see Decay throwing Rabbids around.
I see a banana boomerang.
Yeah. Because in the old, in the original game, the way it works is each character has like a certain set of weapon types that they use. Like Luigi uses sniper rifles, Mario uses a basic blaster, Yoshi uses a rocket launcher, I think. And so I was curious what Donkey Kong would use if they would introduce like new sets of weapon types for him, and it looks like they are, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it seems like it's a whole separate like world.
The old Diddy Kong peanut guns.
Yeah.
He pulls out Donkey Konga fucking bongo controller at one point.
Yeah.
He has to. That's like the Smash Brothers.
Really?
Like ultimate.
Best peripheral of all time.
It's not the core gameplay, but interestingly enough, this trailer shows a lot of running around as Donkey Kong in the overworld, doing those like overworld puzzles as a different character with different mechanics. So that's interesting.
My girlfriend's informing me that one of his moves is the banana slammer, which is from
Great.
that weird Donkey Kong cartoon. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, the
Yes.
3D one.
Yes, because I was a Canadian child and it was on YTV all the time.
So,
Excellent.
and
I remember the voice acting being kind of amazing. You know,
that cartoon, that 3D cartoon is horrendous.
it's from that early age of 3D animation, like Reboot and
Yeah.
Beast Wars, and
But it's way worse
Oh,
than
boy.
there's the one with the giant, like that. What totally not Transformers of like planet eating planets.
Oh my god, it's real bad. It's a real bad show. Don't go look it up.
I mean, maybe
Maybe just a
lock
no.
the door first.
But it looks really fun.
Mario plus Rabbids, a fun game to play on the Switch.
Yes, while you're on the bathroom.
Know what else you can play on the Switch on the toilet while you're in your
That's
bathroom?
also real weird.
If you speak
I wouldn't
Japanese,
play this on the toilet.
that
No, I
might
do
be a
not.
pretty good place to play.
What
Resident
can you
Evil
play?
7 Biohazard.
Biohazard Resident Evil
Whoa!
7 cloud version.
Yeah, cloud. So this is Resident
Kinda
Evil
fun,
7 on the
actually.
Switch,
Kind of.
except it's not because you're streaming it from a server in Japan. So right now it's only Japan only, or only announced for Japan. But basically, it's a cloud streamed version of Resident Evil 7, where much like
Also
with
weird.
PlayStation Now or what was that fucking? There was that other cloud
On
service video
Live.
game on live, where you're sending your button presses to a server and it's streaming you back video.
NVIDIA also has a thing for that.
Right.
The Shield, right?
Yeah.
Shield streaming service, something.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a thing. And it's about $18, $20.
2,000 yen.
Yeah, 2,000 yen. Includes all the
Alright.
DLC. What's cool is that you get there's a free 15-minute demo, which makes a lot of sense because you want to check your like connection.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But what's weird about this is that like I feel like this is a game. So like Capcom originally was just like when Nintendo was like asking developers for the specs for the Switch, Capcom was like, no, you need more RAM because we're making a new engine called the RE engine and it needs a lot of RAM to run well.
Right.
And then Capcom doesn't do anything on the Switch when it comes out except a bunch of like kind of bad ports of bad games like
Yeah,
Ultra
yeah.
Street Fighter or Ultra Street Fighter 2 and stuff.
Mhm.
And then so how do they get Resident Evil 7 on the system? Well, fuck it, we'll just stream it to you. we won't do the work like it did with Doom and stuff. We'll just fucking stream you video. I don't know. Sega's doing it with Phantasy Star Online 2. We'll just do the same thing.
Phantasy Star.
Yeah. So that's also
Oh my
weird
God.
because like Phantasy Star Online 2 is available in Japan, of course, on the Vita, and it's the full game. But the
Oh my God.
Switch, for some reason, gets a weird streaming version of the same game.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Resident Evil 7 is a good game, but like, what the fuck, Capcom?
Yeah, really weird. I will say though, Resident Evil 7 was incredible to watch someone else play because I'm a wuss, and also
Yeah, watch the
I don't
speed
know.
run. It's good.
Oh, actually, the Resident Evil 7 speedrun is really good.
I know. I was just saying it so you didn't have to.
I thought you were saying it ironically, but
Nope,
it is really good if you watch it. They did it last AGDQ. It was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good run.
That was a really
I
good
forgot.
one.
all about that.
I'm forgetting his name off the head, which I seem to do frequently.
It was crazy how fast it was compared
Carsey.
to watching a full playthrough of it. Oh man, that game is so cool though, and I still am so impressed that it's made by a Japanese game company and a Japanese game developer when they get that deep stealth feel so correct.
Like, I'm just impressed that like Capcom made a new Resident Evil game.
Yeah,
It wasn't bad.
it was really good. It was like critically
It was, like,
acclaimed. I feel like.
Boy.
Mhm.
So I know a lot of people like 6 because it's a fun action game to play in co-op.
Wait, who
I
likes
don't know
6?
anyone that.
I know a lot of people that like 5. There are people. Okay, so let's say there are some people that like 6. There are more people that like 5.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
That seems
And there's
fair.
the fucking and then Capcom like also released on the Switch the port of this 3DS Resident Evil Revelations 1 and
Yes,
2
they did.
that were originally 3DS games. And like a lot of those have not been super great. Like outside of
Yeah.
like 4 and like half of 5, it's kind of been rough for Resident Evil
Yeah.
until they released the remake of 1, which is really good.
I heard that was
7,
good.
and then at some point in the future, there's a Resident Evil 2 remake happening. Said anything about it in like 4 years, so I don't know what's going on anymore.
More interested to see where they're gonna go with Resident Evil 8.
I know this game felt very different than other Resident Evils too. Like it just,
I don't know. Outside of the first-person perspective, it seems like it follows like path is like RE1, where you start off terrified and worthless of everything, and then suddenly you're a god by the end, and it's kind of a trudge.
well, I feel
through the
like
lab.
they used to play on that like puzzly trope a lot in the old games, where it's like you have the red key, doo 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 doo, and I know this game kept that like key aspect,
You
but
have the shield crest.
they really downplayed the puzzles in this game compared to like the horror aspect. So I thought it was really different than a normal Resident Evil game because of that.
And I've seen somebody point out the way that the series seems to be moving in like trilogies. So 1, 2, 3 were very similar with the fixed camera,
4, 5, 6,
and the puzzles, and the 4, 5, 6 were all much more actiony, over the shoulder, a lot more shooting.
I'd be down for more like first-person horror games.
Yeah, this is
That
like the start of a new
that are
trilogy
good
of this,
games once they stop being scary.
like suspenseful first-person horror.
Yeah, cool.
And the DLC in this game is actually really decent too. I watched Mark play a couple of those; they were really good. Like the actual ones, not the gimmicky ones. The one that came out recently.
like the Chris side story and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
The totally maybe Chris Redfield side story.
Yeah. So what is the next news? Something about discounts.
Something I'm real excited about. So when I first brought up Yakuza 6, I brought up that 1 and 2 are getting full remakes, and 3, 4, and 5 are still on the PS3. Well, in Japan, no longer. Sega announced that, like, hey, by the way, we're remastering, Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 to PS4. They're not going to be like, they're not going to be remakes like 1 and 2, because like those games were PS2 games. They like badly needed straight up remakes. These ones are just like, yo, we're up-resing them to 1080, 60 FPS, probably doing some like bug fixes, but like it'll all be this. It'll be the same content. They're all coming out at like looks like about the same price as like Kiwami games, which are like $40.
That's good.
But what's really cool is that they're starting coming out this year in Japan. Like Yakuza 4 in the like Yakuza 3 in August, and then Yakuza 4 sometime in the fall, so like November, and then Yakuza 5 sometime early next year in Japan. So
just
like, I
enough
guess
time to play through each one before the next one comes out.
So I guess like for the like these games are 100% coming to the West. Like they just haven't been announced yet because like you released 1 and 2 here. You're not in 0. You're not in 6 even. You're not leaving the remasters, and you've unlocked too big of a market with how successful the games have been. So like I don't know, expect maybe next fall to be playing Yakuza 3 on the PS4 if you're real into it.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool now that like literally the whole series, all 6, 7 main games will be on one console for the first time. That's like
that's
modern console. Yeah.
Speaking of that console, though, it sounds like that same console, but you might be seeing these re-releases on the PS5 in a couple more years, as the PS4 is heading into the end of its life cycle.
Yeah. So
it has been out for a while. Let's be fair.
So basically, the CEO of Sony Electronic Entertainment, or whatever the fucking acronym is, was basically like on a call with like investors, end of year investment call, and was like basically in order to like contextualize the fact that they're going from a projected sales of PS4 from like 16 to 14 million units or something. Yeah, it's like no, like we're entering the end of the PS4 life cycle, meaning that like the market's saturated. We can't expect to sell more consoles year over year because that doesn't make sense anymore. And so like we're gonna like release games and like make money that way. It's basically the gist of the call. But you got a lot of really interesting like business stuff.
Yeah, there is. They mentioned VR,
which is, and how like VR, they're like happy with the sales, but like the market hasn't taken off in the way they expected it to, which is like the tail of
will
VR.
It ever.
Just like 100% the tail of VR.
Yeah.
They mentioned that PlayStation Plus has been very successful in the PS4 era. I'm not surprised because they moved to requiring it for online play.
And there's a lot of games that I think it offers a lot of stuff too, other than just the online capability, like Xbox Live did.
Yeah,
originally.
like the free
PS
games
Plus
and stuff.
Does have the free games, yeah.
Like they mentioned they added 14 million customers over the course of 2 years concurrent to PlayStation Plus,
Right.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Like what was most interesting about this was like there's a quote here how like 3 years ago the then CEO said that 2015 was the beginning of the harvest period of the PS4. Means like, hey, we spent 3 years like these consoles launched, like you got to remember these consoles launched in 2013.
Yes.
I know. Crazy.
It might feel like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, I guess, like only like just
I guess
launched, right?
anyone
Like
uses
it's only really been since 2015 that these consoles, that the PS4 has like made sense, right? There's been games for it. There's been a lot of more games for it, and so like that was the harvest period. That was we're getting into homes, reaping the benefits of like finally overcoming the beginning hump. And also, this end of life phase isn't necessarily like, hey, by the way, expect PS5 announcement at E3. It's more like, remember like the last 3 or 4 years, the PS3 or the Xbox 360, where it was like, hey, here's just like a million fucking amazing games because everybody knows what they're doing with this console.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the timing totally makes sense.
That's what we're in now. We're in the last like 3 or 4 years of the PS3
Like
or
you
PS4.
said, it's been out 5 years. The last console generation was out 7 years, so it makes
Yeah.
sense we're on the.
Yeah, and so like nobody can afford to do a 2-year like a 4-year console cycle. Like it
But
almost
what
killed
is-
Nintendo launching the Switch.
What's even the future of consoles at this point, though? Like the PS4 hardware can't improve that
So,
much
like-
further.
Like
Yeah.
the introduction of like the pros were like a weird half step, right?
Right.
And so like the question is like presumably Xbox will continue backwards compatibility. Like they've made it a mission statement at this point. It's like whatever the
Right.
next Xbox is, we'll probably play Xbox One games. And whatever the PS5 is, should probably play PS4 games because I highly doubt they're moving off of x86 architecture. Like that wouldn't make any sense to go
No,
back.
Right. They
I think
finally
we
moved
go
to
back
Windows.
to a weird
Yeah.
custom chip after finally moving to something standard. It wouldn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I agree.
So like I don't know, like maybe like I imagine the line is like there's a thing in here where they're just like, hey, like when we gotta like crouch and be ready for like 2020. So like I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe expect a PS5 in like 3 or 4 years.
They do say also that they won't be making any announcements this year at E3.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean
Wow.
they've said that repeatedly because people are like, when's the new console? And guys, no.
I think it's still a
Not gonna
little
give-
early for new console news.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like it's way early. There's like no way.
I mean, they're probably
So-
developing something, but it's not going to
Sure, but like it's in
Right.
it's in like the wish list blueprint phase
Right.
of like what do we want? What do we think we can get in 3 years at a commercial mass production scale?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. This there's a lot of really cool like, but like
I'll post the
behind
article.
baseball type of stuff, insider baseball stuff about this. That's real cool.
I posted the article in chat. It is a really cool article.
It's a good like bunch of like translated interview stuff.
I feel like we really
Um,
need to get high refresh home TVs before we can push the next console generation.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Your Xbox 2 can play your games at 144 hertz. on
Like I
your
imagine the
TV.
PlayStation 5 will be like, yo, your PS4 or your PS4 Pro even won't play PS5 games. PS5 will be backwards compatible. And like that'll be the generation gap, and then they'll announce a PS5 Pro halfway through its life, and then make a PS6. That's a hard break again, or I don't know. Fucking,
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe the world ends. Who
Really
knows?
just don't get those defined
Maybe they,
generations anymore. We're not jumping from
Yeah.
CDs to DVDs
Like-
or anything crazy.
Maybe they were hoping VR would take off so that the PS5 would be just a pure
Like a
VR,
VR
device.
box.
Mhm.
Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but like
But that
It's
doesn't.
weird
I don't
because
think that's
the PS4 Pro is like an upgrade over the PS4, but it's like not that much of an upgrade.
not
Especially
really.
not
It's-
compared to the
Not really.
Xbox One X, which is like basically a new console except with the same processor
It's
clock.
a really interesting story because that's a amazing piece of hardware, but
What are
why?
you playing?
like cool. Now you can play your games at 4K,
At
which
native
is cool,
4K, which is cool,
but
but
doesn't
who
really
fuck owns 4K.
add much more over a regular Xbox.
The big difference between the Pro and the PS4 is just
It's like a
faster CPU,
slightly.
a bigger Yeah, it is slightly too. It's
It's very slight. It's like 200 megahertz or
It's like
something.
a 200 megahertz bump on the chip and like
And then a
4 more
better,
and
compute
then
like a
a
more
graphics.
modern GPU chip, basically.
yeah,
that's
better
been upclocked.
GPU, and then also It looks like it has like some side RAM or something for
Yeah.
some reason, and then
And,
also a
like,
bigger hard drive. And
Yeah,
that's
and like the Xbox One X is like outside of it still using an Xbox, a slightly processor, speed boosted processor from the Xbox One. It's like a new console in terms of
Mhm.
its GPU in it. Like
right,
it's,
right.
You know, it's pushing native 4K 60 stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that actually uses new hardware where the PS4 is the same chip with just more graphics compute
Yeah,
units.
It's
Right.
like basically instead of doing a slim, they're like, hey, we can do better manufacturing, so let's just like die shrink and like make it faster for the same heat and power.
Right, right. But we do have some news left. I was going to move on to the next one. Even though we were just making fun of Xbox for no one actually owning one, they are doing something that's actually really cool.
Yeah, we
You
mentioned
it,
this as a
last
rumor,
week.
as a leak.
Yeah,
This thing's so cool. I'm so happy it's real.
and they've been releasing more and more information about it as this week has been going on, and it's the accessibility controller. And it just looks really neat. And they actually have some footage, I thought, of some people using it. I don't
Yeah,
know if
they
that's,
put out a couple videos. One was like an ad, and one was more like an interview sort of thing where they're like, "Hey, we're talking to, physically disabled gamers and like people in hospitals and whatever about like how they play games." And like a lot of disabled people have like crazy custom rigs, and a lot of it's very complicated, and like a lot of like caregivers both in like homes and hospitals aren't super tech savvy, and like a lot of the stuff is very custom, and it's like installing custom drivers, and it's all fucked up and weird.
yeah,
like,
it's not easy.
Here's a box that has its own buttons, and they're they're not trackpads as they look. They're like big, giant, mashable, durable buttons.
Right.
So like you can use them in all kinds of ways. But it's also a hub that you can plug in basically everything, and it has a whole row on the back of like 3.5 millimeter jacks, which is like a standard in this type of equipment, as it turns out.
Mhm.
Of like, I need a special thing to do left trigger. So I'm going to plug in my thing here to left trigger, set it up how I want, and like it all works. It's all standard. It's recognized as a standard controller, so it removes all the weird driver bullshit and custom.
It even
hack
has
stuff
this
and-
key mapping like built-in software that
Yeah,
looks really
and so you can
nice
yeah,
too.
like, it's so cool. Like I'm so glad it exists for the people that need it.
Yeah, it is really well done piece of hardware and software, and I
And
don't
it's
think
not that expensive.
still
The box
that
as
anyone's
well.
taken on this sort of approach. So it's really cool that
Really
they went
cool
out
that it's first party too, not just
Yeah,
some
and, like,
crazy company.
right.
Like this isn't a thing. This isn't like a market that anybody, especially not the size of Microsoft, is entering to make money on.
Mhm.
Right? Like this is like priced because like, hey, this is an underserved market, and like we're not here to make money on it because it's so low volume you kind of can't.
Right.
But like people need this, so let's do it. And like that's
Yeah.
fucking incredible.
It's almost something you'd expect like a university to create. So it's really cool that they
Yeah,
they
or like a
found it.
really generous like Kickstarter or something
right.
to like create.
I wonder. I don't even know the story behind this at all. But apparently, they did work with Able Gamers, and this is this
Mhm.
sort of
Like
project.
this was like a side project that like I think like 3 interns like started as part of like one of Microsoft's like fucking behemoth R&D divisions at the Xbox, especially at the Xbox thing, and they realized that like this is like something that like people need and we should like look into making, and like found out how to work it. Worked with like like hospital staff about like what to like specs, because like it's not just like, oh, the buttons need to be bigger for people who don't have fine motor control, but they also need to be super durable because people without fine motor control for fingers might also just not have hands, so they might need to be elbowing pad, or you're putting it on the floor and you need to be stepping or stomping on it in some cases, so that they need to build this thing to like high
Medical
spec
specifications.
yeah, medical specs.
Right.
And like
Also, I'm reading the article
so
here
cool.
on Able Gamers, and just to put this in a bit in perspective, the last accessibility controller that they made was this this like switchboard that was basically just boards that you could plug stuff into it, just like this thing is now, and it cost $395.
And the Xbox adaptability controller is $100, $99.99.
And this was they sold it for $5 more than it cost to make, so they weren't really making a profit on it, like the original. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
so
I'm not
it's just
surprised
crazy
at that
expensive.
either, because
Yeah.
I mean,
how
like
much it
Microsoft
made.
can make this cheaper because they're Microsoft. They have supply lines.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw like some hubbub about like they're charging $65 for a button, and like fucking yeah, dude. If you're making 400 buttons that need to be made to medical spec, you're
Yep.
charging $65 for them because they cost you $62 to make.
It says it features
Shit's
19
expensive.
jacks. Oh
Yeah,
my
one
God.
for every function on the controller.
That's great.
Yeah, the pricing's the same as
Like
the
this
Elite
makes
controller,
way
right?
too much sense that I'm like surprised it kind of took this long to make.
So this will probably work on everything too, right? Like
Yeah,
Windows.
it
machines?
It's
reads when
just
you
a
plug it in
controller.
through USB. It
Yeah.
reads as a standard Xbox controller.
That's
So you
incredible.
can use
yeah.
it on
So
anywhere that reads a 360 controller, which means that like with a mod, you can use it on a PS4.
this is going to be great too, just
Yeah.
for all sorts of people that want
But,
to
like
do.
even for
the,
people that aren't disabled that want to do weird shit with controllers. you can
I know,
do
like Donkey Konga
Yeah,
playing
what
Dark
if you wanna
Souls.
Souls on a
play
dance
Dark
pad.
Souls
Yeah.
20 bananas like that one guy did. Here's a way you don't have to hack it together. Like this thing is really cool for that maker crowd too.
Yeah, it's a really cool device. I really hope
Yeah.
that this even
only
drives further
$100.
competition in the space. Yeah,
That's not that much more than a regular controller these days.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
so moving on to Unreal. Apparently, is 20 years old.
Yeah. So
is-
I
Hey.
Crazy.
so weirdly a lot of people so this is
Oh,
so
today.
Unreal in this case. So Unreal in this case isn't well, it's sort of the engine, but it's the game Unreal.
Mhm.
The original fucking OG.
Unreal.
You might have seen some real old magazine covers with like the future of graphics. Can they get any better than this?
Discount
'Cause,
Llama
like-
just came online, GOG.
Yeah. just popped it in. Just remembered to click the ad-free game. But like, man, this thing's cool. It's 20, but it's a really cool game. Celebrate your fucking PC gaming history with this thing. This is where Unreal Tournament came from. This is where Epic the company comes from, and the Unreal Engine.
Wait, are you
runs.
saying this is where Fortnite comes
I mean,
from?
basically.
It's funny because you can see on this tweet page the Fortnite header hiding behind it.
I mean, yeah, it's funny. I mean, like Unreal 4 is basically this engine.
Yeah.
Anyway, some couple fun last minute additions.
Yeah. What, do you want to talk
This
about this last
tweet
article
by-
really quick? I'm confused what it's
This-
about.
This tweet by Hideo Kojima to hype up Death Stranding before fucking E3 reads +1 on the T-3 weeks hashtag E3 2018.
What is this a
Decima-
picture of?
Decima X Kojima equals DS. So the screenshot he shares from Death Stranding here is a picture of some moss-covered rocks
Yeah.
that look nice.
Yeah.
Some foliage? I don't know. Fucking what is this?
What is Death Stranding? I don't think
Here's,
Hideo Kojima
here's a
knows.
picture from Death Stranding. You can't figure out what it is from these mossy rocks.
I'm looking for like the body hiding in
I
this
see some
picture.
shit about how like it looks like there's a face in the rock and like just I don't
It
know,
totally
man.
does look like there's a face in the rock. Where's the like baby smoking or something
don't
or
know.
whatever?
There's
What was
actually
it?
40
It's just a
highly
nice-
trained assassins hiding in that picture.
It's just a nice looking moss covered rock they're posting to promote Death Stranding before E3.
All
I don't
these-
know what Hideo Kojima's doing, but like fuck me.
All these reactions though are so good.
What is this is not the typical pre E3 hype screenshot.
Oh my god. Well, all right. So other than that,
Last fun dumb thing that I found. So there was a patch, one of the minor content patches for Final Fantasy 14 today.
oh, I heard about this. Okay,
It adds a new raid, and one of the bosses makes you do math or you die.
Oh yeah.
So like getting your raid members to do normal, standard, easy things is already impossible. Getting them to do math
Wait,
is
whoa.
probably going to be impossible.
Whoa, that's...
So basically, the boss casts a spell that puts everybody in the raid down to a random 1-digit health number. Then he spawns 4 circles numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you stand in one, it adds that much health to your health bar. So depending on what spell he's casting, you've got to stand on the right thing to get your health to the right number so it divides
my God.
cleanly by his spell he's casting. Divide 3, 4, or 5. Otherwise, you die. It's like, oh, I'm at 2 health and he's casting divide 3. I need to be 6, so I got to stand on the 4 circle and get healed to 6
oh
HP.
boy.
I survive the cast.
Wow.
That's actually really
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking cool, but like, Jesus Christ, you're asking people in an MMO raid to do math.
Oh boy, I can't wait to pug that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, and then he later in the fight, the thing is, he's casting a spell indivisible, so you got to get your prime number because it can't be divided. 2, 3, 5, 7,
After
11,
the
13.
cycle, you'll be doing advanced math. That's great. So Construct 7 too, for those that don't know, is from Final Fantasy Tactics. He's one of the side characters that you can fight.
He does a really good dance in this raid when he kills everybody.
He has this like really bizarre story. I don't remember the automaton using any math skills though. I sort of wonder if it's a reference to so there is this math class in Final Fantasy Tactics.
It's probably that. This is Final Fantasy 14 we're talking about. This is absolutely a reference to whatever you think it's a reference.
So the it was called Calculator. And so they had this ability that would cast spells on everyone on the map, depending on what select like stat you're choosing. So you would say, I do this spell on multiples of 5 for the experience level, like the amount of experience every character on the map has. So if everyone on the map has a multiple of 5, this spell will hit them. So you'd have to like set up your party to be this bizarre like segment to match those
in Final
numbers.
Fantasy VII, one of the ways to learn one of the enemy skills is you have to get a chocobo in combat and get it down to 1/32 of its health, and it casts a spell that it only casts at that point. It's like, okay, I gotta go learn level 4 death or like level 4 suicide or whatever. I gotta get into the thing, make sure it's level 16 chocobo, cast it so it gets down to 1/32 of its health exactly.
Amazing.
Fucking Square Enix with your goddamn weird fractions.
So I did want to mention just real quick that RPG Limit Break went on last week and it was super awesome, and that means that GDQ is coming up. So that was an RPG focused speedrun event. It was really good. It raised money for National Alliance.
They raised $160,000,
which is really good for not GDQ, basically.
Yeah.
And
especially
it has
one
been,
for like long RPG speedruns.
Yeah, and
Some
a lot
of
of people
these
are like
are-
super into it.
Some of these are really long.
Yeah, a lot of them. It was like a 2-week long event, I think, or a week and a half, and like some of the games just took like 12 hours or 6 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's
RPGs.
pretty like. at
One
some
of them
point you
was
just can't-
Tales of Symphonia, and it's like, like that game just like went on forever.
Yeah, it's a long game.
It's a long game playing it normally,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like easily 80 hours.
yeah. So like watching them speedrun that, and there's a lot of things you can't skip at all. So it was just mashing text basically, and that's all you could do to speed it up. But it was really cool to watch, and I'm super excited about GDQ because I love GDQ, and that's coming up in June.
I am so excited
21.
for
First week of
bonus
July.
game
24th.
Mario Odyssey.
June 24th.
June 24th. I thought it was the first week of July. My
No,
calendar's off.
you're gonna miss all of it.
No, he's just waiting for the VOD so he knows what's good.
Oh, the last thing they ran was Kingdom Hearts 2, which was a really good run, and they had
Like, I kind of hate Kingdom Hearts, but I like watching the speedruns because like they
It's
cut
really
out all
good.
the shit I hate about Kingdom Hearts.
pretty much they skip every cutscene. So like,
All
But still, the
like,
intro scene-
weird, bad like platforming side quests and the weird combat and the oh my.
yeah, I love that game. I'm super pumped about Kingdom Hearts 3. So we'll see what that is like when that happens.
That's a real bad fucking Tim Allen impersonator in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, they don't have great people, or they actually. I mean, they're good.
They're
just
good.
not-
It's just
they're
like
just not the original.
no, and it's very obvious.
Yeah, it is.
It's
All right.
not Tom Hanks and
So I'm gonna let's close out the FUNCAST for
Mhm.
tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Burnout
you.
discount. It was a
thank
great.
you for letting me ramble. I need
Of
to pause
course.
to do it, otherwise I'll just explode.
This is a great fun time, and we will meet next week, same time, and that will be FUNCAST 11, which won't be as exciting as 10, just because now we're in the long haul to episode 100, and
You
that will
see.
be
No,
the
see, we
long,
got to get
exciting
to episode. I was gonna say 19, but actually, we're 2/3 American, so I guess 1, 'cause then the podcast can drink.
I see.
See, but at podcast number 11, then we're a prime number, so we won't take damage from Indivisible.
So we won't die after the cyclone.
Right, exactly. That's important. I don't know. Oh my god, that raid's
I
gonna
need
be
to get. I need to do that fight.
I need to, yes, I also kind of want to do that. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds fun
Yeah.
and stupid.
All right. Well, see you later, everybody. Good
All
night.
right, see you guys next week. Thundercats ho!